After the irretrievable retreat of the beautiful country, Luzon quickly changed its stance. Previously, Luzon had banned the promotion of the dragon coin, not allowing it to circulate within its territory, and those caught would face severe punishment. But now, seeing its protector, the beautiful country, had fled, Luzon immediately announced the full lifting of the ban on the circulation of dragon coin and declared to the outside world its support for dragon coin as the official currency of the country, promoting it comprehensively within Luzon. However, at this time, Luzon's attempt to appease the JECA Group by supporting dragon coin would not be that easy. The JECA Group quickly issued a statement listing 10 accusations against Luzon. Luzon, a small and insignificant country, presumptuous and arrogant, is the most fickle of nations. Openly and wantonly defaming the reputation of our JECA Group and illegally occupying the islands and reefs of our strategic ally, it is formally decided by our side to deploy troops to Luzon and conquer the disobedient. This statement's pretext was somewhat weak, but the JECA Group did not care anymore. Previously, Luzon was so arrogant following behind the beautiful country, relying on it as a protector, jumping up and down in front of the JECA Group. Now, Luzon was the only country in Southeast Asia estranged from the JECA Group, naturally becoming a thorn in the side and a target that needs to be brought under control. This point was not only clear to Luzon but also seen by countries around the world as the ambition of the JECA Group. October 2nd. A Devourer-class cruiser of the JECA Group set sail from Inan Jinlan Bay, disappearing into the vast ocean. When it reappeared, it was already close to the territorial waters of Luzon, rushing towards the major naval port of Lambique Bay in Luzon. Upon learning this, Luzon, especially its navy, plunged into great chaos. Lambique Bay, located in the central-western part of Luzon, is a military port and Luzon's largest naval port. The military bay is 14 kilometers long, 8 to 13 kilometers wide, with a depth of 24 to 50 meters and good anchorage. Many of Luzon's main battleships are located here, and this is also the home port of Luzon's War Fleet headquarters. Of course, speaking of main battleships, Luzon's naval strength is actually not strong. Although it's an archipelago nation, most of Luzon's ships are small coastal patrol boats, with a few main escort ships bought secondhand from Western countries, outdated in model and with very modest combat power. As the JECA Group announced a war against Luzon and the Devourer-class deep-diving cruiser appeared near Luzon's territorial waters, a coup occurred within the Luzon Navy at Lambique Bay. These warships are what our country has painstakingly accumulated over decades, tightening our belts. Are we to watch helplessly as they sink to the bottom of the sea? We have no chance of winning against the JECA Group's arsenal ship. The President and others have already abandoned this country. So what's the point of our persistence? No one will call us heroes for generously facing death. Notify the JECA Group by radio that we, the Luzon Navy, are willing to surrender and accept their arrangements. In a moment of chaos, the rebel side achieved victory in the coup. The Luzon naval soldiers had no will to fight. If the army could rely on courage to enhance combat power, whether a navy is strong is tied to training, but more critically to the performance of the ships. All their ships combined, relying on those coastal patrol boats and a handful of escort ships, were no match for a single Devourer-class deep-diving cruiser. Therefore, they simply chose to surrender to the JECA Group without resistance. If they were going to lose anyway, why resist further and sacrifice in vain? With this mindset, the Luzon Navy chose to totally defect to the JECA Group. At first, when the Devourer-class deep-diving cruiser of the JECA Group received the surrender message from the Luzon Navy, it thought it might be a trick, trying to lure the cruiser into the port and then swarming it with numerous coastal patrol boats to attack the cruiser. To be cautious, the JECA Group sent in escort ships and destroyers into Lambique Bay. Only upon arrival did they find that the Luzon Navy had hoisted white flags on every warship, and all the flags representing Luzon country had been lowered, with the main guns at the bow of warships covered, and all warships quietly docked at the jetty. Luzon Navy soldiers lined up on the dock, waiting honestly for the takeover by the JECA Group, without any resistance, only casting envious glances at the warships of the JECA Group entering Lambique Bay. Especially when seeing the final entry of the Devourer-class deep-diving cruiser, their gazes were fervent. If only such powerful warships belonged to them, Luzon, then they wouldn't face cannon blackmail from the Jekka group. Thus, the Jekka group easily seized Luzon's navy without a fight, making the remaining tasks much simpler. October 4th. Just shortly after the complete surrender of the Luzon Navy to the Jekka group. Sidon Port in Luzon. In the early morning, with lingering mist over the sea, the silhouette of a giant ship emerged on the water, like a floating mountain, arriving at the port of Sidon. Sidon Port isn't a major port, just an ordinary one, with the only special aspect being its close proximity to the Luzon's capital, Manila, at just a short 60-kilometer distance. When the port staff spotted the giant ship, a sense of panic spread rapidly. Because this giant ship was the arsenal ship of the Jekka group, its tens of thousands of tons vast outline floated on the sea like a small mountain, bringing a huge sense of oppression. The Jekka group is attacking. No one knew who shouted, but this chaos instantly turned into a panic, with people scrambling to flee the dock. The fearsome reputation of the Jekka group naturally made them scared, anxious about their own safety. After surfacing, the Devourer-class cruiser did not fire upon Sidon Port, simply because this port had no targets or military facilities of significant value worth attacking. The Devourer-class cruiser gradually entered, pulling into this dock. The only advantage of Sidon Port was that the water depth here was sufficient to accommodate the berthing of the Devourer-class cruiser. On the now deserted dock, the Devourer-class cruiser docked and lowered boarding ladders, from which Jekka group soldiers emerged, including genetic warriors wearing second-generation life-breeding equipment. Though not a transport ship, the Devourer-class cruiser's massive size allowed it to easily transport a battalion-level Marine Corps deployment. Jekka group soldiers landed from the dock, first securing all the key areas and high ground, completing their control. The subsequent transport fleet followed immediately, docking at Sidon Port to offload soldiers and armored vehicles. With this foothold, Jekka group's troops could continuously land on Luzon. Island nations feared this most. Without a navy, their territories were full of vulnerabilities, defenseless. Hours later, a heavily armed mixed brigade of Jekka group departed from Sidon Port, heading straight for the capital of Luzon, Manila. Luzon, lacking the support of the beautiful country, found Jekka group aiming for a swift victory, attempting to directly seize Luzon's capital, which would utterly crush Luzon's resolve and will to resist. With Sidon Port occupied, Luzon must have already received the news. However, what puzzled Jekka group's heavily armed mixed brigade was that they encountered no organized resistance along the way. Even if Luzon's response was slow, Manila City was Luzon's capital, and there were still plenty of stationed troops here. Yet, until this Jekka group brigade reached the outskirts of Manila City, no Luzon soldiers were seen, as if they had all vanished into thin air. When Jekka group soldiers arrived at Manila City, they should have already received the message. Yet, there was still no resistance. The city had not constructed any defense fortifications or gathered troops for opposition. Instead, as Jekka group's armored convoy arrived, a large number of Manila citizens, primarily consisting of professions like police, doctors, and teachers, lined the streets, bringing the elderly and children, holding banners aloft. Welcome Jekka group's King's Division. Please, for the sake of the children, do not let our city fall into the flames of war. From now on, Manila City is an open city. We implore Jekka group to spare us and not destroy our city. These people held banners, chanting slogans loudly. The Jekka group soldiers, encountering such a situation for the first time, were a bit bewildered. After the situation was reported layer by layer, Jekka group decided to temporarily halt the shelling of Manila City, instead allowing soldiers to enter the city to take over this capital city of Luzon. One after another, armored convoys, including the Spider main battle mecha, entered Manila City, where Jekka group's infantry walked the streets, even receiving flowers and gourmet food, an expression reminiscent of breaking bread and offering wine to welcome conquerors. Jekka group soldiers, in a relaxed and pleasant atmosphere, captured crucial buildings such as the city's TV station, police station, and government building. Later, it was learned that most of Luzon's important high-ranking individuals had already flown abroad, leaving behind those who couldn't escape. Disheartened by Luzon's leadership and betrayed by the beautiful country's abandonment, the citizens of Manila were unwilling to continue fighting for this country and chose instead to surrender into the embrace of Jeka Group. Because they all knew, continuing to resist would only lead to unnecessary civilian casualties, and their homes would be leveled by warfare, turning into ruins. After all, the recent example of Javanese Yagata City was still vivid. Jeka Group had bombarded it for half a month, severely destroying the city. Their cost-intensive shelling relentlessly devastated Yagata City. Ultimately, they chose to follow the example of Paris in the past, turning Manila into an open city. According to custom, Jeka Group soldiers would not destroy this megacity of 12 million people. The lives and properties of its citizens would be safeguarded, and they wouldn't have to become homeless, living as refugees. Thus, this metropolis of 12 million inhabitants easily fell into the hands of Jeka Group. Subsequently, the advance of Jeka Group did not pause. Luzon, as an island nation, had its soldiers easily deployed by Jeka Group, mastering naval supremacy. The Marine Corps captured port after port, and the Army followed the Spider main battle Mecca, advancing unimpeded. During this process, Jeka Group encountered very little resistance. Luzon's military strength was apparent. Old and outdated equipment, mainly hand-me-downs from the beautiful country, incomplete armament, and a lack of large heavy equipment. Historically, Luzon has been a Western colony, initially a supplier of raw materials and later a market for products. The country had no manufacturing industry or military industry to speak of. Moreover, Luzon has long been under the influence of the beautiful country, with its military often following their mandates. Now that even the beautiful country has withdrawn and abandoned Luzon, the elites within Luzon have fled, leaving soldiers with little will to fight. Their official military force of 110,000, along with 150,000 militiamen, almost universally either crumbled at the sight of Jeka Group or surrendered outright. Many times, Jeka Group simply needed to issue a notice about where they would attack that night. The Luzon soldiers in those areas would flee overnight to take refuge with the Jeka Group. When the entire Luzon was under Jeka Group's control, a tally of casualties revealed that Jeka Group, at the cost of 34 deaths and 51 wounded, conquered Luzon in 9 days. With Luzon conquered, Timor and Brunei, two small Southeast Asian countries with populations around the hundreds of thousands, voluntarily invited Jeka Group to take over, beseeching Jeka Group to station troops, choosing to be ruled by Jeka Group. However, Jeka Group declined, only setting up an office, as stationing troops in such small countries wouldn't even recoup the costs. Hence, the entire Southeast Asia, including the Southeast Asia Peninsula, Java Island, Malay Archipelago, Sumatra Island, Kalimantan Island, and Sulawesi Island all became the sphere of influence of the Jeka Group. 11 countries in Southeast Asia, Chan Country, Siam, Jinla, Lansong, and Nan, Johor, Temasek, Jawa, Luzon, Brunei, East Timor, and Assam country supported by Jeka Group, all became directly or indirectly controlled by Jeka Group, with a population of 600 million living within Jeka Group's sphere of influence. When the New York Times published a map of Jeka Group's influence, the Siam Bay became Jeka Group's internal lake, with the Malacca Strait and Kra Isthmus Canal at the crossroads of the Pacific Ocean and the Indian Ocean, both choke points controlled by Jeka Group, and the scattered islands and vast oceans of Southeast Asia marked with Jeka Group's name. When this map appeared, countries around the world couldn't help but gasp in shock. A brand new power, with a territory of nearly 5 million square kilometers and a population of 600 million, mastering advanced genetic and mecha technology, acting dominantly, had sprung up under everyone's noses. As stated in the sensational headline of the New York Times, a giant has appeared in the world, 1 foot in the Indian Ocean, the other in the Pacific Ocean, with its left hand clutching the Malacca Strait and right hand gripping the Kra Isthmus Canal, gazing aggressively, intending to devour the entire world. And Suje's former title of Southeast Asia's Tsar has now become more fitting, being referred to as the King of Southeast Asia. Blood Sea Devouring Sky Demon Skill, 8th level, achieved. Chan Country, Underground Poisonous Insect Space. Su Jie stood in the blood sea. Waves of blood surged around him like a heavenly tsunami. An apocalyptic flood. The blood sea expanded wildly. Who? In a flash, Su Jie's body disappeared into the blood sea. Huge vortices appeared in the blood sea, forming a faint human face, which closely resembled Su Jie's features. Su Jie had not only refined all the blood in his body into holy blood, but he had also infused a part of his primordial spirit into the blood sea devouring sky demon skill. This is why Su Jie's face manifested in the blood sea, as it was a manifestation of the primordial spirit in the blood sea. The blood sea, imbued with the power of the primordial spirit, can dissolve everything. Falling into it, not only the physical body but even the divine soul would find it hard to escape the blood sea's engulfment. This is the 8th level of the blood sea devouring sky demon skill. He is the blood sea, and the blood sea is him. Under the blood gold industry supply, which Jekka Group acquired without reservation, Su Jie's cultivation of the blood sea devouring sky demon skill advanced rapidly. The last time Su Jie advanced to the 6th level of the blood sea devouring sky demon skill, in just over a year, with the expansion of Jekka Group occupying more territories, a large population participating in blood donations plus external purchases of fresh blood, it pushed the blood sea devouring sky demon skill to an extremely exaggerated level. The blood sea devouring sky demon skill has a total of 12 levels. Within a short time, Su Jie had advanced it to the 8th level, already possessing the true power of the blood sea. At this moment, even the sect master of Blood Demon Cave couldn't surpass Su Jie in the realm of this technique. Having Blue Star as a resource fulcrum, Su Jie's growth speed was unimaginable to the demon cultivators of Blood Demon Cave. With a bang, Su Jie waved away the surrounding blood sea, revealing himself, quietly landing on the ground, appearing calm and composed, except for a touch of red at the end of his hair. Heavenly Eye! In the next moment, Su Jie softly called out. His left eye transformed into a swirl of red vortex. Through the vortex, one could vaguely see Su Jie's Dharma form, an imposing figure like a mountain, with wings on the back, and a face made only of vortices as the Chaos Dharma form. In the past, using the Dharma form was challenging for Su Jie, as his primordial spirit was only at God unification realm, and weaponizing the primordial spirit to form Dharma form against opponents is something only Yang God levels of primordial spirits can accomplish. Yang God is the standard of primordial spirit for Purple Mansion cultivators, above the Taoist platform realm. Purple Mansion cultivators would, at the slightest disagreement, unleash their primordial spirit weapon, which is their Dharma form, to blast their enemies to smithereens. The last time Su Jie used the Dharma form against Zhao Juanda, he himself couldn't withstand the pressure of the Dharma form, leading to severe injuries. But now, Su Jie's left eye acupoint frequently connects with the heavenly Tao's aura of Blue Star, refining his primordial spirit, substantially enhancing Su Jie's primordial spirit, making the Dharma form increasingly adept. What was just one strike in the past, Su Jie could now launch 3 consecutive attacks with the Dharma form primordial spirit. The gentle heavenly Tao of Blue Star is highly favorable for the growth of the primordial spirit, and through the painstaking process of breaking through the Taoist platform realm, Su Jie's primordial spirit advanced significantly. Su Jie felt there was a possibility that, while in the Taoist platform realm, he could cultivate his primordial spirit to the level of the Yang God, using the Dharma form as easily as eating and drinking, casually smashing those he dislikes with the Chaos Dharma form. Taoist platform realm? I didn't expect I would almost reach this step. Su Jie spoke, a slight self-satisfied smile appearing at the corner of his mouth. Achieving the Taoist platform realm requires tempering both the physical body and the primordial spirit, refining the 5 internal organs' essence qi to reverse cleanse the 7 orifices, and letting the Tao River cleanse the primordial spirit. The 7th layer corresponds to the 7 orifices of the human body. Su Jie's cultivation of the left eye acupoint was in place. He already had 1 foot into the threshold of the Taoist platform 1st layer realm. Su Jie already mastered the cultivation method of the Taoist platform realm. The reason he hasn't broken through is due to Blue Star's environment being unsuitable. The breakthrough in the Taoist platform realm demands a large amount of spiritual energy, coupled with closed-door cultivation, of unknown duration needed. Su Jie plans to go to the Tianyuan world to complete this final step. Once, Su Jie was just an insect-catching disciple at the lowest level of Ghost Ridge Palace. Now, he is about to become a great power of the Taoist platform realm. Even the sect master Zhang Junwei of Ghost Ridge Palace had the cultivation at the Taoist platform realm level, showing how valuable the Taoist platform realm is. Su Jie planned to return to the Tianyuan world, not only to prepare for the breakthrough to the Taoist platform realm, but also because on the other side of the Tianyuan world, Guanchao Pavilion was stirring, and Su Jie, as the high-level combat force of Ghost Ridge Palace, needed to go back and guard the sect. However, before returning to the Tianyuan world, there was a celebration for him on Blue Star. October 12, 2029. This day was also Su Jie's birthday. Chan Country, Monday City. On this day, Monday City was brightly decorated, with a grand ceremony taking place on Jekka Avenue. Attending this ceremony were King Baya of Siam, President of Johor, Dadak, Assam's King Ahom, among others. Officials from 11 Southeast Asian countries, along with Assam country, making a total of 12 countries, attended this celebration. In addition, friendly partner countries of the Jekka Group and some individuals with close ties to Jekka Group were also invited to this celebration, which was broadcasted globally and publicly. The main purpose of the celebration, aside from celebrating Su Jie's birthday and Jekka Group's great achievement of unifying Southeast Asia, was to gather these countries' officials, as Jekka Group would establish an organization. At 10 in the morning, Su Jie and Lu Yingying rode in a convertible special car, the vehicle slowly cruising along Jekka Avenue. The newly constructed Jekka Avenue is spacious and clean, stretching 9.8 kilometers long and 120 meters wide, extending east to Tsangnan Gate and west to Yuntian Gate, with the 438-meter-high Jekka Group headquarters building at its center. A million-strong crowd gathers on both sides of Jekka Avenue, waving national flags, lively and bustling. As Su Jie's car passes, the crowd resembles a surging blue wave, waving blue-bottomed national flags, their eyes filled with passion, and the shouts echoing in the sky. At this moment, everyone is chanting a single name. A research institute once conducted a survey on Su Jie's support rate among the citizens of Chan Country. It said that after the results came in, the research institute suspected a data error because the support rate for Su Jie in Chan Country was as high as 98.3%. How much is Su Jie's adored by the people of Chan Country? An ordinary fruit farmer once wrote in a letter to Su Jie, "I have finally fulfilled my wish and successfully developed a brand new precious strawberry variety. To demonstrate my admiration and respect for Commander Su, I beseech you to name this new variety Su Jie Strawberry." Jekka Group receives thousands of such letters every day, written by people of all ages and professions, including workers, farmers, soldiers, intellectuals, government employees, and even elementary school students. Amongst the letters from young girls caught up in romantic feelings, one wrote, "Commander Su, I heard that you have no children. As a citizen of Chan Country, this keeps me awake at night. Therefore, Commander Su, I ask that you let me have a child with you. It is the most sincere wish of a Chan Country woman." The most common theme among the letters sent is the expression of gratitude towards Su Jie. Without Su Jie, Chan Country would just be scattered like sand. With Su Jie, Chan Country was reborn, and its people truly stood up. This is easy to understand. Imagine your country embroiled in civil war for decades, warlords ruling over territories, and the populace suffering in poverty, with 85% living below the poverty line, and inflation worsening day by day. When you travel a long distance, you have to pay toll fees more than a dozen times because you pass through various warlord territories, almost like crossing different countries, necessitating payment. Your children cannot afford school, cannot eat enough, while your wife cannot afford medical care and must continue working while pregnant. Your relatives might be killed, harmed, trafficked, recruited, or exploited at any time in armed conflicts. To survive, you must grow opium for the warlords and pay head tax. You could be randomly conscripted, given a gun, and thrown onto the battlefield, being used as cannon fodder in the warlord strategy of sustaining the army with drugs and protecting drugs with the army. Then suddenly someone stands up, helps you drive away the warlords, ensures your children can attend school, have bread and milk daily, your wife no longer engages in heavy manual labor, can afford medical care, you earn more money and don't risk life to grow opium. In such a tragic country, if someone tells you this and fulfills all promises, while also leading your country to defeat surrounding beasts and wipe out Southeast Asia, confronting Blue Star Dominator head-on, instilling an unprecedented sense of national pride. Wouldn't you support this person as a leader and follow them? In a nation shrouded in darkness, even if this savior is Chinese, so what? Supporters are fervent enough to die for him. Those who have nothing understand what it means to cherish. Even though the external world labels Jekka Group as an extreme terrorist force, calling Su Jie a bloodthirsty demon and warmonger. In the eyes of Chan Country's people, this is the leader they most adore and should be followed to the death. With Chan Country's citizens' fervent gazes, the convertible carrying Su Jie reaches the parade troop lined up and waiting. Sunshine streams through clouds, spilling onto the broad Jikota Road, reflecting on soldiers' shiny steel helmets and cold gleaming bayonets, forming dazzling light spots, like a forest of bayonets. Genetic warriors dressed in biological armor, adorned with heavy weapons, their somber gaze sent chills down spines. The Spider main battle mecha's 203mm main cannon muzzle towered high. Its gigantic 12-meter size cast a large shadow, like a moving mountain or a living giant beast. Su Jie stood up from the convertible, raising his right hand at a 45-degree angle, saying, "The interests of Chan Country and its people are above all. Long live Commander Su." The response was a tidal wave of passionate chants. Long live the people. Victory to Chan Country. In the call and response, Su Jie cast his gaze over each parade formation, finally stating, "May victory and glory always favor everyone. Victory! Victory! Victory!" A thunderous sound arose, soldiers saluted Su Jie. The Spider main battle mecha raised a long metallic leg, mimicking a salute, a scene of grand solemnity. Behind Jekka Group's military parade formation, more soldiers followed. These soldiers were sent by Southeast Asian countries to join the inspection parade troops. With the big brother organizing a parade, the little brothers could not pass up the chance to join the festivities, seeking opportunities to win favor from the big brother. Compared to Jekka Group soldiers, these Southeast Asian country soldiers displayed a much weaker spirit, even though they were the elite, handpicked from their countries. This is understandable. If their spirit was strong, they wouldn't have been swept away like leaves by Jekka Group's autumn breeze. After the inspection, the parade officially began, and Su Jie returned to the grandstand stage. Amidst the resonating drums, the parade formations moved in orderly fashion. Soldiers had keen gazes, their steps uniform, like pieces of moving puzzle. Especially when the Spider main battle mecha advanced, each step shook the ground and mountains, profoundly impacting. As the parade reached its climax, the Magic Bird fighter aircraft formations formed the numbers 10 to 12, celebrating Su Jie's birthday. Above the majestic grandstand stage, the banner designed personally by Su Jie for Jekka Group unfurled from high above, hanging prominently atop. A million-strong crowd and army gathered together, holding flags, marching in formation, raising banners, chanting deafening slogans, drumbeats, and powerful military music, forming a symphony named Empire Rising. Tens of thousands passionately shouted, sang, hailed Su Jie on the grandstand, celebrating in an intoxicated frenzy. On both sides of the grandstand, the dignitaries and guests from Southeast Asian countries bore solemn expressions. Yet their hearts were extraordinarily complex. Because this army had conquered their countries, now they had to personally come here and play along. The parade involved deploying over 100,000 ground troops, 268 Spider main battle mechas, numerous tanks, armored vehicles, and aircraft, making this parade exceptionally magnificent, broadcasted live by many media to places around the world. The formidable military power of Jekka Group was unmistakably showcased in this parade, instilling fear across global countries. Jekka Group's known military strength currently stands at 1.2 million formal troops across land, sea, and air, with thousands of tanks and armored vehicles, 5 mechanical combat brigades formed by Spider main battle mechas, each brigade containing 134 Spider main battle mechas. The Magic Bird fighters and various aircraft, including helicopters and transport planes, numbered over 1,000, alongside 6 Devourer-class deep-diving cruisers. Those not publicly revealed, such as the Steel Camp's genetic warriors. Outsiders speculate that although it's called a camp, the number of genetic warriors likely exceeds 1,000 people. Such military force is a truly terrifying and extraordinary existence. If you factor in the forces of Southeast Asian vassal countries and war potential, Jekka Group could mobilize a vast number of troops in total war. With Jekka Group's base camp on the Southeast Asia Peninsula, the secure survival environment naturally prepares it as a battlefield for Jekka Group, not fearing any enemy sending ground troops to invade. Not to mention, in the tropical rainforest environment of the Southeast Asia Peninsula, just the genetic warriors alone could make any global army's scalp tingle. Who would be so reckless to engage genetic warriors in jungle warfare? With such military power, Jekka Group is truly fully fledged, a presence every country must take seriously. After the parade ended, at the Jekka Group headquarters building, Su Jie sat at the head seat, with Lu Yingying as his deputy, and below them were senior officials from the Southeast Asian countries. We need to unite as one, build a completely new organizational structure, and make our voices heard in this world. Only by coming together, like tightening our 5 fingers into a fist, can we secure a place for ourselves in the global arena. Su Jie spoke slowly, explaining the purpose of this gathering to everyone. Although they had already heard rumors, once it was confirmed, these Southeast Asian countries couldn't help but feel anxious, as if they had entered a lion's den. This organization will be called the South Alliance. First, we must achieve economic integration and deepen the ties between the Southeast Asian countries. Using the Dragon Coin as a foundation, we will establish the Dragon Coin Currency Administration and form the South Alliance Economic Zone. In the future, the Dragon Coin will become the sole legal currency of the South Alliance countries. We will establish the South Alliance Constitutional Preparatory Committee, agree on the South Alliance's flag, anthem, motto, and celebration days, as well as the location of the South Alliance building. Based on this, we will form the South Alliance Council, where each country will become a council member. Through the votes of each member country, a leader will be chosen to become the supreme leader of the South Alliance, guiding the development of the entire alliance, with a term of 5 years. Additionally, under the jurisdiction of the South Alliance Council, we will establish the South Alliance Military Equipment Bureau to coordinate the military development of all member countries, unify standardized equipment and training, and enhance combat effectiveness. Simultaneously with the South Alliance Military Equipment Bureau, we will also establish the South Alliance Joint Military Intervention Force, which requires each member country to contribute troops. The specific number will be determined through subsequent discussions, and it is expected that this force will consist of around 1 million personnel. The military expenses will be shared by all countries. Any armed conflicts occurring within or outside the South Alliance territory will be resolved by deploying the South Alliance Joint Military Force, as decided by the South Alliance Council. The Jekka Group will become the sole observer of the South Alliance, providing supervision and guidance. In the future, the Southern Alliance member countries. Lu Yingying stood up, holding a document, and read out the clauses and frameworks of the South Alliance one by one. There were so many treaties that it took Lu Yingying over 10 minutes to finish reading them all. The Southeast Asian officials sitting down looked at each other, their expressions somewhat rigid, because the establishment of the South Alliance clearly showed that the Jekka Group intended to solidify its position through official cooperation, binding them all onto Jekka Group's chariot economically, politically, and militarily. Once the South Alliance was established, they would have to act in accordance with Jekka Group in all matters, and their own rights would be greatly restricted. Although they were already limited by Jekka Group now, establishing it with a treaty encompassing all Southeast Asian countries was a first. They certainly wanted to oppose it, but when they thought about the Jekka Group's troops stationed within their borders, they couldn't voice any opposition and could only nod with bitter expressions. Johor is willing to join the South Alliance and become a council member. Siam voluntarily joins the South Alliance and becomes a council member. Jawa voluntarily joins the South Alliance and becomes a council member. Temasek. One after another, arms were raised, and eventually, through unanimous consent from the Southeast Asian countries, the South Alliance was officially declared established. Next, there was the election for important positions such as the Supreme Leader of the South Alliance. Unsurprisingly, Su Jie became the first Supreme Leader of the South Alliance, and Liu Yingying took the position of Secretary General of the Southern Alliance. Those attending and seated in this position were all shrewd individuals. Who would be so oblivious? If anyone dared not to vote for Su Jie, they would probably not be able to leave this conference room. It is foreseeable that since the Supreme Leader of the South Alliance can be re-elected with no term limits, as long as the Jekka Group maintains its military strength, Su Jie can continue to hold the position of Supreme Leader of the South Alliance for as long as he desires. Several hours later, the major affairs of the South Alliance were discussed, and everyone subsequently dispersed, except for the members of the Jekka Group. The officials from the Southeast Asian countries left with bitter expressions. India has already sent a peace letter. They are willing to compromise with us, agreeing to abandon the East District 6 states, and have promised a compensation payment to us privately. They only hope that, in external statements, we cooperate with them, stating that the East District 6 states is not independent, but serves as a buffer zone between Jekka Group and India, respecting the wishes of the Assamese and aiding in the establishment of Assam country as their primary goal. After everyone had left, Liu Yingying came behind Su Jie, massaging his shoulders while discussing the matter. India has given in but still wants to save face. Agree to it. As long as we gain benefits, it's fine. Su Jie chuckled lightly. The Jekka Group now sweeps through Southeast Asia. Even the beautiful country doesn't dare provoke them, making its own troops pack up and leave. Currently, the only remaining armed conflict with Jekka Group is with India. India's biggest worry now is that the Jekka Group will turn their weapons and fully attack them. Now, sitting on 1 million troops with a population of 600 million and nearly 5 million square kilometers of land, the Jekka Group is like a just-matured male lion, at its most dangerous and volatile. Looking at the fate of these Southeast Asian countries, India is very afraid of the Jekka Group's fangs continuing to gnaw at them. They have already lost the East District 6 states, and if attacked again by the Jekka Group, who knows how much land and how much flesh they'd have to lose to satisfy the Jekka Group's appetite. With today's military parade, the Jekka Group demonstrated its military power to the world. India has recognized the reality that their inferior military and troop quality cannot take back the East District 6 states from the Jekka Group, not by themselves at least. Now that the beautiful country is unreliable, they have even less opportunity. It's better to opt for short-term pain and abandon the East District 6 states early, to avoid being targeted by Jekka Group, which is fully expanding towards India. As for the beautiful country, they have already withdrawn 3 carrier strike groups. Only 2 remained here. Liu Yingying continued, acknowledging the established fact that Jekka Group has already dominated Southeast Asia. The beautiful country no longer has the intention to persist in warfare against Jekka Group. If they wanted war, they should have stepped in when Jekka Group acted against Temasek, Jawa, and Luzon. They didn't go to war back then, so now facing Jekka Group's complete occupation of Southeast Asia, they're less likely to do so. Since they won't wage war, and Jekka Group isn't afraid of their deterrence, they won't bring out such a massive fleet just for show. Carrier strike groups are needed to uphold the beautiful country's global interests. Staying near Jekka Group long-term wastes time and money without benefits. Originally, the beautiful country arrived with great poise, but upon arrival, they could only watch Jekka Group annex one Southeast Asian country after another, and then retreat with their tails between their legs. I've underestimated the beautiful country's endurance. As the Blue Star Dominator, their level of tolerance is not something ordinary people can learn. Su Jie shook his head, speaking with deep sighs. Originally, Su Jie planned to confront the beautiful country head-on, defeat their famed carrier strike groups at sea, then annex Southeast Asian countries and incorporate them into his resources granary. However, the beautiful country retreated too quickly so that Jekka Group didn't even need to take action, as the beautiful country withdrew from the Southeast Asian influence area. What once required war to obtain is now freely given by the beautiful country. making JECA Group's takeover of Southeast Asia very easy. War serves political purposes. Originally choosing warfare with the beautiful country was for Southeast Asian land. Now, achieving the goal without war makes JECA Group more justified in devouring Southeast Asia. Indeed, I thought several times that the beautiful country would intervene when we took Temasek, occupied Changi Naval Base, and attacked Jawa and Luzon, yet they didn't. Liu Yingying couldn't help but complain. At that time in Chan country, she was actively preparing combat supplies to ensure shifts to wartime production and smooth logistics once the war against the beautiful country began. Turns of events made all preparations go unused, as the beautiful country chose retreat. The beautiful country acted sensibly, saving us trouble. Su Jie embraced Liu Yingying, saying, "I'm leaving for a while. Remember to take care of the family." "Okay." Feeling Su Jie's mischievous hand and knowing he would leave soon, Liu Yingying couldn't resist meeting his lips with hers. As emotions peaked, they engaged in an intense battle of passion, waves crashing, spending a sleepless night. The formation of the South Alliance sparked a huge reaction worldwide after the announcement. Unlike the loosely structured European Union, where national members mostly independently manage their affairs, military and political aspirations stay separate. Each nation carries its own agendas even in economic integration. But the South Alliance is entirely different, as its charter and treaty clearly show it's more of a military alliance. Dominated by dragon coins in the economy, integrated military equipment, coupled with the so-called South Alliance forces and the vast powers of the supreme leader of South Alliance, all indicate it's a vast military alliance, centralized and dictatorial, under JECA Group's comprehensive leadership, essentially a realm controlled by Su Jie's single voice. The establishment of the South Alliance implies a formidable and dangerous authoritarian entity holding immense power. For the beautiful country especially, emotions are complex, as JECA Group grew step by step right under their nose. Initially noticed when JECA Group was just a small warlord, the beautiful country paid attention and targeted them. But they couldn't fathom that in merely a few years, JECA Group would grow into a powerful country with near 5 million square kilometers of territory, 600 million people, and comprehensive naval and aviation forces, filled with malice against the beautiful country. Sadly, regrets come too late now for the beautiful country, as they can only withdraw their carrier strike groups from the sea areas surrounding JECA Group's Southeast Asia influence. Due to South Alliance's presence, it fully controls maritime passage between Europe and Asia. Circumventing routes is impossible, unless diverting to Pacific Ocean routes, which incurs unacceptable shipping time and costs. Almost instantly after South Alliance's announcement, JECA Group declared price hikes for Western countries' shipping companies, raising canal transit fees. Moreover, Southeast Asian countries continue to serve as manufacturing and assembly centers for low-end manufacturing by Western countries, with significant investments in factories from companies like Apple and Samsung in the Southeast Asia region. This includes the semiconductor industry, a key tech sector, where Southeast Asia holds about 25% global share. While mainly engaged in the low-end semiconductor industry chain, their share is immensely large, and high-end semiconductors exist too. With Temasek focusing on high-end sectors, talents and infrastructure there attract global chip giants, investing over $300 billion in semiconductor industries in Temasek. Because of the cheap labor and relatively complete infrastructure in Southeast Asia, labor-intensive industries, such as automotive, mobile phones, chips, and computers, flourish here. Shortly after South Alliance forms, JECA Group learns from India's contractual spirit and decisively imposes hefty fines on Western nations' big corporations, exacting environmental demands, worker pay raises, and increased taxation. Remember, these Western countries retain sanctions against JECA Group, with restrictions in various aspects. Although JECA Group can resort to smuggling, it's vexing. Now, the tide has turned, as JECA Group controls Southeast Asia, forcing compliance based on their whims. If you can sanction our JECA Group, then we can reasonably sanction your nation's enterprises too. What, you say JECA Group isn't a company? JECA Group won't concede. It's a bona fide company, just slightly larger in scale, with territories spanning millions of square kilometers, billions of customers, own currency and private military. Why not a company then? Confronted by Jekka Group's extortion, these Western nations turned green, filling grievances and seeking connections. But it's futile, as Jekka Group remains unyielding, eager to fleece you, might not handle the beautiful country, but surely can deal with these small firms. Indeed, through Jekka Group's perspective, even a global market leader like Apple ranks merely as a microenterprise. As said, newly appointed leaders often ignite a passion, with South Alliance's first blaze setting these Western corporations in cries of anguish. Ultimately, these Western firms can only comply, pay fines, and settle matters dutifully. Business must go on. Truly withdrawing factories from Southeast Asia poses nowhere else to find fertile grounds filled with abundant labor and infrastructure. Few places globally offer this. Thus, global corporations flock to Southeast Asia for factory setups. This shifting trend in manufacturing only progresses towards suitable regions. Hence, even if Jekka Group imposes exorbitant fines, there's no alternative. Genuinely removing factories would prompt Jekka Group to outright ban your products through their canals, cognizant that targets of Jekka Group sanctions are multinational giants. Alone, the enhanced transport difficulty and cost increases would spell their collapse, potentially crippling them in Asian markets. By owning Southeast Asia land, Jekka Group excels in choking crucial points, commanding hubristically, leading by far. Tianyuan World, Ghost Ridge Palace. In front of Puppet Hall, the scene here was bustling with activity. Disciples lined up in long queues before several tables, collecting their monthly salary. Zhang Wu, assembly worker, 18 low-grade spirit stones this month. Su Hao, formation worker, 35 low-grade spirit stones this month. Chun Guan. One by one, the Puppet Hall disciples looked at the wages they received, which varied according to their job duties. Those with only a dozen or so low-grade spirit stones were basically disciples engaged in the most basic repetitive assembly work, mostly at the second or third level of the Yunling realm. Those who earned dozens, even hundreds of spirit stones were mostly disciples skilled in certain fields. For example, those old disciples who worked in Puppet Hall before Su Jie took over. They mastered the skills of puppet crafting and mostly engaged in research work. Their monthly salary was much higher than that of ordinary disciples in Puppet Hall. Nearby, many outer disciples lingered. The days when Puppet Hall issued monthly salaries also tended to be recruitment days, bringing in new personnel to expand production. Many disciples came in hopes of catching a lucky break. Nowadays, Puppet Hall has become one of the best places for disciples in Ghost Ridge Palace. They can earn at least a dozen spirit stones monthly without risking their lives outside. Besides frequent overnight work, even the disciples cultivating at the first or second level of the Yunling realm had a high adaptability to overtime work, and sudden death was impossible. Manager Chen. Chen Yun approached from the back of the crowd, and as she passed, the Puppet Hall disciples nearby greeted her warmly. Over the years, Chen Yun, the chief manager of Puppet Hall, had diligently managed its affairs. Her cultivation had also seen breakthroughs. Her aptitude wasn't the best, but Su Jie did not treat her poorly. Good cultivation resources were awarded to her, so now Chen Yun has reached the 8th level of the Yunling realm, being a well-known figure among the inner sect disciples. More importantly, everyone knew Chen Yun shared a deep friendship with Elder Su. Before Elder Su rose to prominence, Chen Yun was already his teammate, witnessing his rise firsthand. Elder Su, known as the immortal seed of Ghost Ridge Palace, was reputed as the most powerful secret realm elder under sect master Zhang Junwei. With Su Jie establishing such connections, not only ordinary secret realm elders in Ghost Ridge Palace but even inner sect disciples dared not provoke Chen Yun, treating her with respect. As Chen Yun entered Puppet Hall, several female disciples came running over. Sister Chen, here are the expenditures for this period. The majority is spent on purchasing various materials, totaling 383,747 low-grade spirit stones. The number of Puppet Hall disciples has surpassed 3,000. Currently, the rocket artillery we produce and the specialized puppets and equipment demanded by the Hall Master occupy most of our personnel. The rest are engaged in research work, with some repairing the flying magical boat. Brother Zhu recently requested a lot of spiritual materials, saying the flying magical boat's repairs are nearing completion. These female disciples were financial personnel recruited by Chen Yun to manage Puppet Hall's finances. A hall this large could not be handled by her alone. Chen Yun nodded, her gaze shifting to the flying magical boat placed on Puppet Hall's open ground. On the boat, many Puppet Hall disciples could be seen busy working. When this flying magical boat was initially brought back, it was in complete disrepair. Yet now, after years of continuous resource investment and repairs by Puppet Hall, the damages of this flying magical boat have been completely restored. It lay quietly on the ground, its enormous size and faint formation fluctuations evoking a chilling feeling. Just as Chen Yun was observing, sudden commotion erupted outside Puppet Hall. Amidst countless disciples exclaiming in astonishment, a massive shadow cast over the sky dome, the terrifying pressure even causing the outer disciples' legs to weaken, while the inner sect disciples swallowed nervously, sensing an unspeakable fear akin to facing a natural predator. Above the sky dome, a gigantic flying centipede arrived, with numerous pale corpse hands twisting and moving, its head's hideous mandibles, and the bluish chitinous insect shell gleaming with metallic luster, giving off a sense of indestructibility. This powerful top-grade 7 refinement thousand-handed centipede was widely known within Ghost Ridge Palace, recognized everywhere as Elder Su's signature life-bound poisonous insect. After reaching above Ghost Ridge Palace, the centipede's enormous body descended, causing nearby disciples to retreat while gazing reverently at the man stepping down from the centipede's head. The man stood tall in a flowing purple robe, simple yet commanding respect. His eyes were deep and tranquil, yet carried an inexplicable aura that awed and intimidated, appearing profound and unapproachable. Is this Elder Su? He seems so young. Such strong aura. No wonder he's one of our sect's top formidable beings. Immortal seeds are terrifying. I heard that a few years ago, Elder Su was an outer disciple like us. Now he has ascended to Secret Realm, becoming a great power. I still have no clue when I can reach the 3rd level of the Yunling realm. Honestly, sometimes the gap between individuals is greater than between humans and dogs. The gathered disciples whispered among themselves. Many had only recently joined Ghost Ridge Palace. Because Ghost Ridge Palace won the sect war, numerous newcomers joined the palace each year now. These newcomers had only heard the legends of Su Jie and were seeing him for the first time. Welcome to the release of the Hall Master. Chen Yun quickly walked over, bringing a large group of Puppet Hall disciples behind, and bowed excitedly. May the Hall Master have great fortune, boundless mana, and eternal immortality. Over 1,000 Puppet Hall disciples shouted in unison, following Chen Yun's actions, creating a vast scene of bowing figures. The nearby young disciples watched with envy, gaining a deeper understanding of Su Jie's power and authority within the Ghost Ridge Palace. In the Ghost Ridge Palace, an elder status was measured not only by strength but also by the important halls and resources they controlled within the sect. The Puppet Hall, once on the verge of being abandoned, had become one of the largest halls in the Ghost Ridge Palace since Su Jie became the Hall Master. Even without considering Su Jie's identity as an immortal seed and near-invincible power in the Secret Realm, the presence of the Puppet Hall made him a heavyweight elder with real power. Compared to the outer disciples, the few inner sect disciples passing by had even more intense gazes, with many having thoughts of replacing him. Yet, these individuals did not know that the man before them was like a cheat character, with barely any chance for them to surpass him in this lifetime. How is the progress on the flying magical boat? Su Jie looked at Chen Yun, inquiring about the important matter he was concerned with. The Jekka group was in the midst of digesting the territories seized in Southeast Asia. Before they finished assimilating that area, Su Jie had returned to the Tianyuan world. Upon returning to the Tianyuan world, the first thing Su Jie did was to inspect the repair progress of the flying magical boat. This flying magical boat had been seized from Guanchao Pavilion and left in the Puppet Hall for years. Su Jie had invested a lot of manpower and resources into it, and now the results were finally emerging. Hall Master, I'll call Zhang Qi over. Chen Yun was about to call someone when Zhu Zhangqi, who was originally inside the flying magical boat, received a cue and jumped down from the boat, quickly running to Su Jie. Hall Master Zhu Zhangqi, the senior brother of Puppet Hall, had a face covered in stubble and messy hair, clearly indicating that he often worked inside the boat and neglected personal hygiene. "How is the current repair progress of the boat?" Su Jie asked. Reporting to the Hall Master, the boat is basically repaired, and most functions can be used. Only some minor issues remain, which we will resolve within a month. Once thoroughly understood, we may even attempt to manufacture our own flying magical boat. Zhu Zhangqi patted his chest. He was most fascinated by puppet machinery and learned a lot during the repair process of the flying magical boat. "Try starting it, can it fly?" As Su Jie spoke, he gently waved his right hand, flying towards the flying magical boat, with Chen Yun and Zhu Zhangqi being drawn by an invisible force to follow Su Jie to the bow deck of the flying magical boat. Being on the boat, one could feel the majestic scale of the flying magical boat even more. The water flowed slowly around, and it was like a palatial estate, a fantastical floating palace in the clouds with towering pavilions and temples on the boat, each tile and wood brimming with celestial aura. The glazed tiles gleamed brilliantly under the sunlight, like scattered stars dotting the earth. At the peak of the palace, golden phoenix wings spread wide as if about to soar through the sky, taking this vessel to roam the seas. In the center of the boat was a fairyland garden shrouded in mist, filled with various strange flowers and grasses competing for beauty, aromatic fragrance everywhere, colorful butterflies dancing along with celestial music, and a jade-like waterfall cascading from the highest point of the palace, creating layers of mist, decorating this place as though in a dream. The boat was incredibly luxurious, with a dragon throne crafted from pure gold, inlaid with demanding spiritual materials and spirit stones, walls decorated with densely packed array patterns like star maps, and floors made of white jade and golden filaments, all sparkling and translucent. Huge columns seemed to traverse through the clouds with painted flying eaves and upturned corners, dragons and phoenixes vivid and lifelike, immensely magnificent and majestic. "Start the boat." Zhu Zhangqi held a crystal ball, the key to controlling the flying magical boat. With Zhu Zhangqi inputting spiritual power, the flying magical boat rose from the ground like a wild horse let loose, and the layered array radiance enveloping the boat burst forth, soaring like a counterflying meteor through the sky, piercing the clouds. Below, mountains and rivers quickly retreated, and the hustle and bustle of the mortal world were seemingly left behind. A few celestial cranes and sparrows passed by, joined the boat, playing and frolicking, enjoying the spiritual energy environment pervading the boat. Su Jie sat high up in the tallest pavilion on the boat, sitting on the pure gold dragon throne, with a water curtain array pattern appearing before him, like a holographic projection, completely projecting the surrounding scene onto the curtain, allowing Su Jie to command the whole situation from within the boat. Initiate attack. The boat flew extremely fast, and at 10,000 meters high, Zhu Zhangqi demonstrated the boat's attack capabilities. Located at the core of the boat was a long crystal pillar, and within the pillar solidified a phoenix feather. This belonged to the fire phoenix among the phoenix species, and although it was just one feather, it constantly emitted infinite light and heat, in conjunction with the supply of top-grade spirit stones, providing enormous flight energy for the boat. When the attack system was activated, this arm-long phoenix feather shined crimson. The feather danced like flames, exuding a terrible aura of unending nirvana flames. At the bow of the boat, an array covered 100-meter square, like 10,000 rays of golden light cast onto the earth, illuminating every detail on the boat, forming dazzling halos with the spiritual light emitting from the boat, like a bridge to the sky or an apocalyptic flame. A pure white flame pillar swelled instantly, piercing straight into the ground below. Boom! This white flame pillar exploded the earth's soil, raising a wild wave of mud, leaving a massive crater behind. Just one fully charged strike equated to a full-force attack by a strong practitioner at the Secret Realm 5th level, but due to the long charging time, the power was great, but the hit rate was not high. Unless the enemy was forcefully restrained, they wouldn't stupidly stay put. The ship's explosive array radiance emanated more attack functions. The power of the Fire Phoenix transmitted layer by layer, converging onto the attack arrays inscribed across the ship. In the next moment, attacks from the ship fell, with some slaughter arrays like blooming laser beams, others resembling countless storm cuts, and some transformed into rolling heavenly thunder. These attacks, although lacking the charged power, were fast and dense, each having the impact force of a secret realm second or even third-level cultivator's attack, posing a higher threat to secret realm enemies. At this moment, the flying magical boat was like a firepower turret, with the dense attack formation eliminating large areas of forest below, causing numerous birds and beasts to flee in terror, only to be consumed by flames, lightning, and light columns, burned to ashes. The cost, however, was the rapid consumption of stored top-grade spirit stones aboard the boat. Maintaining such firepower output for a minute could bankrupt a secret realm practitioner. Luckily, Su Jie was now affluent. Among the many secret realms in the Ghost Ridge Palace, in terms of wealth, with the Puppet Hall and past war gains, Su Jie's wealth ranked at least in the sect's top 5. Hall Master, name this boat. It will be your ride from now on. After demonstrating the boat's attack capabilities, Chun Yun spoke appropriately. Su Jie pondered for a while, glanced at the curious thousand-handed centipede crawling from his sleeve, and couldn't help but laugh. Let's call it Thousand Hands in memory of my Shao Qian. As soon as these words fell, Su Jie used great magic power to engrave the 2 ancient characters, Thousand Hands, on the boat's side, completing the naming of his ride. Outside the Ghost Ridge Palace sect, a convoy of carriages was on the move. However, the drivers looked deathly still, and upon close inspection, the horses appeared to be covered in human skin, with their limbs resembling human arms and legs, devoid of any blood. All 7 or 8 carriages were the same, moving at an incredibly fast pace, as if they were phantom-like, covering dozens of miles in mere moments. On a central carriage, Lu Jingshi, the sect master of the Heavenly Soul sect, lifted the curtain and gazed ahead, saying indifferently, "We are approaching Ghost Ridge Palace. Everyone, brace yourselves. This discussion is crucial to the safety of our sect. Don't let anything go wrong." "Yes, sect master." Within the carriage, there were several responses, and one by one, ghostly figures emerged. Some of them had their hair tied with the bones of the dead, donned mourning clothes, and were entirely in white. Others had shadows behind them, twisting and raging, as if they had their own consciousness, transforming into layers of ferocious ghostly figures, terrifying beyond measure. Some appeared normal in attire, yet their bodies were devoid of any flesh, like skin encasing a layer of bones, incredibly eerie. Among the 7 or 8 people, only half of them looked somewhat like ordinary people, at most appearing a bit pale and unhealthy. These belonged to the secret realm elders of the Heavenly Soul sect, who, due to raising and refining ghosts, often went astray and were deeply corrupted by fierce ghosts, turning themselves into neither humans nor ghosts. These were those with insufficient cultivation. The truly powerful ones were those who controlled the fierce ghosts, instead of being influenced by them. Like Lu Jingshi, a Taoist platform realm expert, he appeared very healthy and ruddy, more natural and proper than ordinary people, without the slightest oddity visible. Observing the looming peaks ahead, Lu Jingshi knew that once past the plains, entering the majestic mountain ranges, they would reach Ghost Ridge Palace's territory. "Sect Master, do you think Ghost Ridge Palace will ally with us this time? What if they have no regard for past ties?" Shui Xian, the elder of the Law Enforcement Hall of the Heavenly Soul sect, spoke up. He wore a black robe, with a human-faced walnut in his left hand, possessing a cultivation of the secret realm 5th level, making him one of the most senior elders of the Heavenly Soul sect today. "They won't. The principle of united we stand, divided we fall, is something Ghost Ridge Palace understands well. If we are eliminated by Guanchao Pavilion, the next to be targeted would be the Heavenly Soul sect. That's why during the last sect war at Ghost Ridge Palace, we came to assist. They wouldn't just watch us being wiped out." Lu Jingshi spoke correctly, but his tone lacked absolute certainty. The Heavenly Soul sect had been having hard times in recent years. For some unknown reason, Guanchao Pavilion had gone mad, accusing the Heavenly Soul Sect of plotting to murder their Taoist platform realm expert Zhuang Liangru, and had been constantly targeting the Heavenly Soul Sect. Several times, the headquarters of the Heavenly Soul Sect near Nanyang City had been subjected to cleansing operations sent by Guanchao Pavilion, and recently they had mobilized extensively, uniting with various major righteous sects in Qingzhou, seemingly intent on eradicating the Heavenly Soul Sect. Lu Jingshi's visit to Ghost Ridge Palace this time was to seek help from them. On their own, the Heavenly Soul Sect could not withstand the encirclement led by Guanchao Pavilion and the major righteous sects of Qingzhou. They needed Ghost Ridge Palace as reinforcements in battle for a chance at survival. Additionally, we also have acquaintances within Ghost Ridge Palace. Hopefully, this time they will speak well for us, fostering cooperation between both sides. Lu Jingshi suddenly mentioned something. Sect Master is referring to the Immortal Seed? Xue Xian immediately understood who Lu Jingshi was referring to. He had also witnessed Su Jie's prowess, having slayed the righteous Immortal Seed Wei Ji, who had the true dragon body, solo battling 5 secret realm experts during the sect war, living up to the devilish Immortal Seed name. Exactly that person. Lu Jingshi nodded. Just as he was about to say more, he abruptly raised his head, his gaze solemn as he looked toward the clouds in the sky dome. Be careful, there's a flying magic boat. The next moment, Lu Jingshi seemed to have discovered something, his expression turning extremely grim. It's well known that in Qingzhou, only the wealthy Guanchao Pavilion could afford such war fortresses as flying magic boats, and only they had the technology to manufacture them. Now, in Lu Jingshi's perception, a flying magic boat was rapidly approaching from the sky dome, its intent hostile. No good. Could it be that our plan to ally with Ghost Ridge Palace has been leaked? Is the opposing party deploying this to prevent us from entering Ghost Ridge Palace's territory? Xue Xian's face turned ashen, his gloomy gaze sweeping across the seated elders, eyes cold as if trying to find the traitor within their ranks. However, those selected to join this group were the most trusted elders of the Heavenly Soul Sect, and no matter how Xue Xian looked, he couldn't find anyone who would betray the sect and act as a mole. Things are dire. Disperse and retreat. Fall back to the Ghost Ridge Palace station. The magic boat coming this time likely has the presence of Guanchao Pavilion's Taoist platform realm experts. Lu Jingshi warned, as his left hand's flesh wriggled, splitting open a bloodstain, with billowing yin qi surging from within. The next second, a gust of sinister wind blew, and a fierce ghost, suffused with murderous aura, appeared. Its appearance was ghastly, with skin pale as paper, for eyes each with pupils of different sizes and colors, seeming to pierce into the deepest fears of the human heart. This was an 8th-grade evil spirit, an earth evil ghost. Facing the incoming flying magic boat, Lu Jingshi dared not hesitate, immediately revealing his trump card. The other elders of the Heavenly Soul Sect were also tense, summoning fierce ghosts, with some elders' mourning clothes transforming directly into fierce ghosts. Some elders' shadows transformed into ghostly figures, attaching themselves to the elders, turning them into ghost bodies. Some elders' flesh and bones inflated like blowing air, turning into statues 10 feet tall, with green faces and fangs, muscles stiff, displaying faint golden silk patterns, having turned themselves into golden armored zombies. At the moment of tension for the Heavenly Soul Sect group, the sky dome cloud layer broke apart, revealing a massive flying magical boat. The boat's towers and palaces stood tall, surrounded by celestial cranes, with waterfalls and clear springs resonating melodiously, while the spiritual energy was drawn in, floating like ethereal music. This was indeed a flying palace, magnificent and beautiful. Nevertheless, Lu Jingshi, who knew the inside story, did not dare to slack off. He knew that all this was just a display, and when the assault formations of this flying magical boat were fully activated, it became a mobile war fortress. Moreover, it was very likely that there were Taoist platform realm beings inside, forcing Lu Jingshi to stay on high alert. The flying magical boat kept descending, and the atmosphere grew increasingly tense, as if a great battle was about to erupt. Sect Master Lu. Haha. It's been a while, hasn't it been? At that moment, A hearty laugh suddenly came from the boat. Lu Jingshi was startled, vaguely finding the voice familiar. Soon, he saw a rainbow spirit bridge emerging from the boat, with the spiritual energy condensed into an arched bridge, and a man walked out along it. This man appeared very young, seemingly in his early 20s, and walked towards him with a smile. "Elder Su, how is it you?" Seeing the figure approaching, Lu Jingshi's eyes widened. "Of course, it's me. Your Heavenly Soul Sect is our Ghost Ridge Palace's strategic ally. Upon receiving your prior letter about the visit, we couldn't neglect you. See, I've come to welcome you at the mountain gate." Su Jie laughed heartily, landed on the ground, and cupped his fists toward Lu Jingshi. "Sect Master Lu, it's been 3 years, and you still look the same. We've already prepared for your welcome. Feel free to rest aboard the Thousand Hands ship. Refreshments and delicacies have been prepared. Enjoy them at your leisure." "Oh no, it's we who arrived abruptly. Wait, the Thousand Hands ship." While exchanging pleasantries with Su Jie, Lu Jingshi suddenly remembered something and incredulously said, "Isn't that the flying magical boat the Guanchao Pavilion captured? Did you really manage to repair it?" He was present during the sect war and was aware that Ghost Ridge Palace had seized a flying magical boat from Guanchao Pavilion. But at that time, the boat was a wreck, incomparable to the luxurious and magnificent flying palace he now beheld. Indeed, after the sect master rewarded me for my performance during the sect war, he gave this captured flying magical boat to me. To repair this boat, our puppet hall put in Herculean efforts. Fortunately, we lived up to expectations and fully restored the boat without wasting the immense spirit stones, spiritual material, and resources. The boat is now named Thousand Hands and is my flagship. Su Jie pointed to the Thousand Hands ship, introducing its origin to the crowd. After hearing this, every elder from the Heavenly Soul Sect, including Lu Jingshi, showed profound envy in their eyes. The flying magical boat itself possessed formidable combat capabilities, and with proper usage, it could even turn the tide of war. Let alone having such a boat as a flagship, it was simply awe-inspiring in status. In front of the flying magical boat, sword flight, stepping through the air, riding spiritual birds, or driving chariots paled in comparison. It's like comparing a Rolls-Royce to a bicycle. They're simply not in the same league. Even when the Heavenly Soul Sect was in Jingzhou with their mountain gate intact, they didn't have a single flying magical boat at their disposal. One can imagine the envy and jealousy they felt now hearing that Su Jie had his own flying magical boat as a flagship. "Elder Su, such boldness and vision. I admire you greatly." Lu Jingshi clicked his tongue repeatedly. Repairing a flying magical boat consumed enormous resources and required the risk of potentially failing and wasting everything. If it were him, he would never have dared to do such a thing. Just lucky. Let's not gossip here anymore. Let's continue our conversation on the boat. Su Jie smiled and extended his invitation, prompting the Heavenly Soul Sect group to step onto the Rainbow Spirit Bridge and come aboard the Thousand Birds ship. In the largest banquet hall on the boat, rows of crystal-clear jade staircases led the way, with the floor paved in rare mica stone, reflecting dazzling light that resembled a sea of stars, mesmerizing all who gazed upon it. Every detail of the banquet hall exuded exquisite craftsmanship, with murals depicting immortals soaring through the skies, playing with birds and beasts. Above them was a splendid starry mural sea. Looking up, a vast sea of stars appeared within reach, as if one stood amidst the cosmic ocean. In the center, the glazed glass immortal pond shimmered with rippling waves, its waters formed by condensed drops of spiritual liquid, invigorating anyone who took a breath. On either side of the immortal pond were arranged tables, with disciples from the puppet hall bustling about, serving sumptuous dishes whose aroma filled the air. The elders of the Heavenly Soul Sect were awestruck by Su Jie's immense wealth. How rich was this guy really? Even if they saved for 10 lifetimes, they wouldn't be able to afford such a flying magical boat. Su Jie and the Heavenly Soul Sect members sat here, enjoying fine food and wine while chatting merrily. After a few rounds of drinks and a variety of dishes, Lu Jingshi signaled discreetly. The elders of the Heavenly Soul Sect were quite perceptive, Thus they withdrew one by one of their own accord. Seeing this, Su Jie also waved his hand, causing the disciples serving there to disperse, leaving only 2 people in the banquet hall in a blink of an eye. As multiple soundproof formations rose, Lu Jingshi was the first to speak. Elder Su, I previously ordered 1,000 rocket artillery pieces and matching munitions from your puppet hall. I'm wondering how the production is going. I've brought the remaining payment. With that, Lu Jingshi took out a storage bag and handed it to Su Jie. There was no personal prohibition on the storage bag, so with a sweep of divine sense, Su Jie could tell that it was filled with top-grade spirit stones, amounting to a value of 5 million spirit stones. Sect Master Lu, you're too kind. After receiving your request, I arranged for the puppet hall to work overtime to produce your rocket artillery and munitions. The rocket artillery you need has long been produced. We currently have thousands in stock at the puppet hall. Even if Sect Master Lu wants more, we can satisfy your needs. Su Jie didn't take the money but spoke with a smile. Back then, when Su Jie went to wish Lu Jingshi a happy birthday, he completed 2 deals with the Heavenly Soul Sect, purchasing 2,000 Fierce Ghosts from them, all 3rd grade, 2nd grade, and 1st grade Fierce Ghosts. The Heavenly Soul Sect gave Su Jie a discount of 30%, and now these Fierce Ghosts have become employees at the branches of Nightmare Park all over Southeast Asia, supporting the expansion plan of Nightmare Park. Meanwhile, Su Jie also provided 1,000 rocket artillery to the Heavenly Soul Sect per Lu Jingshi's request, pricing each artillery at 3,000 spirit stones and each rocket at 50 spirit stones. The puppet hall makes a 10-fold profit at this price, so it's fair to say that doing business with Su Jie is not profitable for the Heavenly Soul Sect. They treat it as making friends while Su Jie sees them as ripe for exploitation. This is all because the Heavenly Soul Sect needs him. Seeing Su Jie's smiling face and how he didn't take the storage bag on the table, Lu Jingshi cursed inwardly and had to take out another storage bag, saying, "Given the circumstances, our Heavenly Soul Sect is willing to order 1,000 more rocket artillery pieces and munitions. Well, okay, as allies, even though Ghost Ridge Palace urgently requires these rocket artillery, in consideration of Sect Master Lu, I will prioritize fulfilling your request and transfer the goods to your Heavenly Soul Sect." Su Jie's smile became even brighter as he discreetly put away the storage bag. Missing a chance to exploit such a dupe would mean missing a prime opportunity. Lu Jingshi's mouth twitched as he looked at Su Jie's smug expression, wishing he could punch that smiling face. This extortion is excessive. He devours everything entirely. Elder Su, regarding the intentions of our Heavenly Soul Sect's visit, I'm sure Ghost Ridge Palace is also aware. Our Heavenly Soul Sect is genuinely facing a crisis this time. Guanchao Pavilion might initiate war against us at any moment, and we need Ghost Ridge Palace's assistance. Seeing Su Jie put away the storage bag, Lu Jingshi knew he had successfully extorted a promise and started discussing the real business. He was aware of how high the profit margin on these rocket artillery was, but in order for Su Jie to serve as a spokesperson, he could only reluctantly acquiesce to the deal to satiate Su Jie's appetite. This is really difficult. Ghost Ridge Palace has been battered after being besieged by the righteous sects of Qingzhou, recuperating for several years now. If we were to rashly become involved in a war with Guanchao Pavilion, many elders probably wouldn't be willing. With a single sentence, Su Jie made Lu Jingshi's face turn black. This bastard Su Jie might not actually intend to do anything after taking the money. However, I personally deeply sympathize with your Heavenly Soul Sect's plight. It said, "If the lips die, the teeth feel the cold." I'm willing to help Sect Master Lu persuade Ghost Ridge Palace to assist Heavenly Soul Sect in resisting Guanchao Pavilion's hegemony. Qingzhou isn't just theirs to command, Su Jie said, changing his tone, letting Lu Jingshi breathe a sigh of relief. Exactly, Guanchao Pavilion has gone too far in oppressing us. How exactly did we offend them that they want to wage war against us? This is intolerable, and as demon path cultivators this time, we need to show the righteous sects what we're capable of. Lu Jingshi slapped his leg, speaking spiritedly. His Heavenly Soul Sect took the fall for me, Su Jie thought to himself. Zhuang Liangru, the Taoist Platform Realm's Supreme Elder from Guanchao Pavilion, died at the hands of the 10,000 Soul Banner and the Ghost Bride. With such distinct features of death within Qingzhou's confines, the most famous for ghostly dealings is the Heavenly Soul Sect. Furthermore, the location of Zhuang Liangru's demise wasn't far from the Heavenly Soul Sect, causing them to be wrongly accused as the main suspects behind Zhuang Liangru's murder instead of Su Jie. Sect Master Lu, as an old friend of the Heavenly Soul Sect, I assure you that regardless of the sect's decision, I personally will certainly participate in this resistance against Guanchao Pavilion, even if I'm alone. I promise to keep my word. Su Jie patted his chest. In reality, within Ghost Ridge Palace, he, Taoist Chiu, Tang Peiqing, and Zhang Junwei, key sect leaders, had already privately decided to support the Heavenly Soul Sect, ensuring they wouldn't be easily eradicated by Guanchao Pavilion. If Su Jie were to face Guanchao Pavilion alone, he wouldn't dare to stand against them, as he's a demon cultivator and wouldn't seek death. With Elder Su's assurance, I feel much more at ease now. Lu Jingshi felt slightly reassured, knowing despite Su Jie's greed, he would indeed act when necessary without simply pocketing the money without delivering. If only all of Ghost Ridge Palace was as sensible as Su Jie, his task would be much easier. During their casual conversation, the Thousand Hands flying magical boat had already returned to Ghost Ridge Palace's main base at the mountain gate. At the parade ground, Zhang Junwei led a group of Ghost Ridge Palace senior members, displaying sufficient respect for the guests from the Heavenly Soul Sect. Brother Zhang, Brother Lu, the heads of the two major demon path factions in Qingzhou completed a historic meeting, with expressions of regret at meeting so late. If this scene were known to the righteous sects, they'd certainly be greatly alarmed. The last time these two demon path factions joined forces, it was not too long ago to frustrate the righteous sects in a sect war. No one knows what mischief the Qingzhou demon path will stir up this time. With the arrival of the Heavenly Soul Sect, the sect master of Ghost Ridge Palace, Zhang Junwei, continuously communicated with Lu Jingshi. Finally, through the sect conference, it was decided to support Heavenly Soul Sect in opposing Guanchao Pavilion. This was something that had long been concluded. As part of the first batch of external reinforcements heading to Heavenly Soul Sect, Su Jie was also on the list of those providing aid. However, Su Jie did not deeply participate in these exchanges. Because Su Jie had already found a desolate wilderness, summoned the Thousand Hands centipede, dug a deep hole, and buried himself beneath it. Su Jie was about to break through to the Dao platform realm. Sect wars entail great risks. In a battlefield where life and death clash, it's unlikely you would suddenly have a breakthrough at the last minute, as the enemy isn't foolish enough to wait for you to complete your breakthrough before taking action. To do things thoroughly, Su Jie first intends to boost his power to the Dao platform realm, thereby greatly increasing safety factors. 1 day, 5 days. When time reached the 10th day, Su Jie, sitting cross-legged underground, was surrounded by a faint golden light, with sweat pouring down his forehead and his brows tightly furrowed. Inside Su Jie's body, both the physical body and primordial spirit were undergoing fierce transformations simultaneously, each meridian continually expanding, while the spiritual power inside surged like the Yangtze River, swelling and roaring. From the void came an indescribable oppressive feeling. The gravel scattered around was crushed into powder by invisible forces, layer upon layer of ground sunk, compressed into incredible density. Suddenly, with a crisp explosion, Su Jie's body gave a violent jolt. The layer of golden light shattered like a mirror, then reconverged to become even more dazzling. At the position of Su Jie's left eye, the black pupil turned to a pale gold, as if able to penetrate all illusions, bright and spirited, thoroughly piercing through the eye acupoint. In the next moment, wisps of white spiritual energy in the vicinity rushed madly towards Su Jie, surrounding him and forming a giant vortex. Su Jie was immersed within. His left eye absorbed all the spiritual energy, as if it were an unfathomable black hole. Above Su Jie's head, layers of thick clouds rapidly gathered. Originally, the sun was blazing high, but in an instant, dark clouds loomed overhead. Thunder tribulation. Su Jie slowly raised his head, already understanding in his heart. Crack. Within the tribulation cloud, Thousands of silver serpents soared like dragons, intertwining and weaving together into a thick heavenly thunder, striking down heavily. The soil overhead was blasted open directly, and the heavenly tribulation fell upon Sujie. The heavenly thunder, which would terrify a secret realm cultivator, did not make Sujie feel any discomfort. Instead, the rolling heavenly thunder on his body was completely absorbed into his body. Sujie had once eaten the lotus seeds of the 9th grade sacred lotus, acquiring the divine skill of purple cloud heavenly thunder, transforming his physique into the purple cloud thunder body. His resistance to heavenly thunder, which other cultivators feared, felt like a massage to Sujie. Amazing! Bring a few more rounds. Sujie laughed heartily, absorbing the heavenly thunder striking from the sky, allowing his primordial spirit to further transform and grow. Seemingly challenging Sujie, the heavenly thunder continuously bombarded heavily, each strike weightier than the last. Yet Sujie withstood them all with no signs of damage to his body. Many from the secret realm, upon reaching for the Tao platform realm, fell under the heavenly tribulation, but Sujie simply dismissed the thunder tribulation as insignificant. After 18 consecutive strikes from the thunder tribulation, Sujie's entire primordial spirit had completely transformed. Leaping out from Sujie's head, his primordial spirit looked not only solidified as a real person, but within the primordial spirit, there was now an additional dazzling golden, akin to a miniature sun, emitting vast waves of energy. This was just the beginning. As more heavenly thunder struck down, when 36 and 81 bolts of heavenly thunder fell, soon the second and third golden dots gradually formed. This is called the golden core, the key transformation for the primordial spirit at the Yang God level. The Yangshin must condense a total of 10 golden cores at key acupoints within the primordial spirit to achieve the Yang God Tao. Now, having just broken through to the Tao platform realm, Sujie's primordial spirit had already refined 3 golden cores, a feat astonishing enough to drop jaws. When the tribulation clouds lost their strength and gradually dispersed, the transformation of Sujie's body slowly ceased, signaling the formal promotion of Sujie's cultivation to the Tao platform realm first level. Sujie reached out to touch his left eye. The pupil under Sujie's control turned pale gold once more. Heavenly might. Sujie directly employed the most representative move of the Tao platform realm, channeling heavenly might with human power. Rumble. Amidst the earth shaking and mountains overturning, the ground rose high, volcanic magma erupted. Amidst lightning and thunder, torrential rain connected the heaven and earth, transforming the forest into a swamp. Amidst howling winds, a massive tornado hurricane swept through, uprooting large trees and obliterating everything. Sujie levitated midair, surrounded by thunder and rain, yet the space he occupied was calm, while outside lay scenes of apocalyptic disaster. It seemed the surrounding natural forces were drawn to him. Lightning, wind, rain, and flood became tame and obedient under his influence, forming a domain akin to natural calamity. Sujie's left eye's connection with the Tao River grew stronger. Under the control of the primordial spirit, the force of the Tao's aura was borrowed, increasing the power and range of heavenly might several-fold compared to Sujie's previous usage. In the future, as Sujie refines more of the 7 orifices, the power of heavenly might will continue to increase. This is the fearsome aspect of the Tao platform realm, using one's own power as leverage to harness natural forces to obliterate the enemy, making it difficult for cultivators below the Tao platform realm to resist. Additionally, due to the growth of the primordial spirit, getting closer to the Yang God level, Sujie was able to wield the Chaos Dharma form more frequently and for longer times, which greatly enhanced Sujie's combat strength. With a wave of his hand, all calamities were dispersed by Sujie, and Sujie's figure slowly floated to the ground. Crackle. On the ground, the 1,000-hand centipede happily bounced into Sujie's arms, rolling around in excitement for Sujie's advancement. On the other side, Han Ruyan had her eyes tightly closed. What's this? Sujie's heart was moved. The blood-colored wedding dress moved automatically without wind, and a massive surge of yin qi erupted around Han Ruyan like a mountain and ocean. Her body was also transforming. While Su Jie was advancing to the Taoist platform realm, Han Rian was also advancing to the 8th grade Fierce Ghost. Back on Blue Star, through the Nightmare Park branches spread across Southeast Asia, absorbing the fearful emotions from numerous tourists. And with the series of horror films produced by Jekka Group, relying on their unique immersive experience, gaining an excellent reputation worldwide, each film becoming a box office hit, harvesting the fearful emotions of large audiences. With the absorption of a large amount of fear emotion, Han Rian had already reached the cusp of advancing to the 8th grade Fierce Ghost. However, like Su Jie, Han Rian wasn't suited to break through in Blue Star's environment, and after accompanying Su Jie to Tianyuan World, she successfully completed the transformation to an 8th grade Fierce Ghost as Su Jie broke through to the Taoist platform realm. As the patterns on the blood-colored wedding dress deepened, all vegetation and trees within a kilometer radius withered. Trees became twisted and fierce. Countless black hair-like roots broke through the soil, forming a ghost realm forest. Above Han Rian's head, a black moon slowly rose. The black moon emitted a faint cold light, possessing a mysterious aura of universal extinction. The phantom of the black moon presented a honeycomb-like structure, with dense points of light flickering within. Upon closer inspection, these were not honeycomb structures, but rather sinister and grotesque eyeballs blinking continuously, exceedingly eerie and terrifying. Swish! 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 Numerous eyeballs fell from the black moon, and upon reaching the ground, they merged into the earth. Subsequently, the trees in the nearby Ghost Realm forest began to change. The twisted trees, resembling demons and emitting black smoke, each uprooted and became genuine demons. Their trunks grew human faces. Not just trees, even stones quickly turned black, transforming into small and large stone figures with human-like features, roaring. The corpses of various beasts that had died in the Ghost Realm forest melted like candles, flowing and sticking together, transforming into grotesque monsters with multiple hands, feet, eyes, and mouths. This was Han Rian's curse ability. Even stones and trees are cursed into such states. One shudders to think what effect it would have on a human. Han Rian's enhancement wasn't just limited to her curse ability. She was strengthened in all aspects, such as the blood-colored wedding dress she wore. The wedding dress flashed with a blood-colored glow, and a small mountain tens of meters high nearby was instantly cut in half, with the upper half slowly sliding down, revealing a smooth and flat surface. Han Rian held a brass mirror in her left hand, and as its light reflected, the surrounding space became shadowy and indistinct. Many panic-stricken fleeing beasts found themselves inside the brass mirror, becoming the creatures within. In her right hand, Han Rian held a big happiness lantern, tossed into the air, and as the big happiness lantern floated up, the entire Ghost Realm forest ignited, the cold ghost fire engulfing trees, stones, and beasts. With Han Rian's advancement to the 8th grade Fierce Ghost, her control over ghost entities became even more terrifying. Ghosts like the Mirror Girl and Lantern Ghost, which she used adeptly, were cultivated by Han Rian to the 6th grade Fierce Ghost level, and the capabilities Han Rian could wield from them far exceeded their individual limits. Han Rian took out the 10,000 soul banner, which over the years had continuously absorbed souls, including both humans and livestock approaching millions. Currently stored millions of Een souls, vastly stronger than before. Han Rian glanced at the 10,000 soul banner before putting it away, as it's also a ghost artifact within her scope of amplification. But its operation would be too conspicuous, so she refrained from using it further. Watching Han Rian demonstrate her various abilities following her advancement to the 8th grade, Su Jie watched in astonishment, repeatedly amazed. Su Jie could feel the surge in Han Rian's strength. One must know that the Heavenly Soul Sect Master Lu Jingshi's natal Fierce Ghost was merely an 8th grade Earth evil ghost, and Han Rian, transformed into a fierce ghost from the heavenly spinning jade light body, was naturally the empress among ghosts. At the same level, Han Rian was the unparalleled number one among fierce ghosts with no rival. Han Rian slowly opened her eyes, the color of the wedding dress returning to normal, her gaze landing on Su Jie. "Husband, why are you staring at me? Is something wrong with my face? Is it not pretty?" Han Rian's face displayed a smile, and it was a very gentle and ladylike smile, just like an elegant young lady. In the past, even when Han Rian smiled, it felt extremely desolate and cold, sending chills down one's spine. This sudden change shocked Su Jie, causing him to be stunned for a few seconds before reacting. "You are my wife. How could you not be beautiful?" Su Jie blinked, knowing that Han Rian's powers had grown stronger again, and her 7 emotions and 6 desires had been restored even more, including the memories from her past life. Han Rian was becoming more and more like a normal human, rather than a fierce ghost. This was also the biggest difference between Han Rian and other fierce ghosts. Other fierce ghosts, even if they were a 9th grade one, had almost no emotional awareness, usually having only slaughter and death on their minds, without considering anything else beyond killing. "Husband, you're really good with words. No wonder you're so popular with women." Han Rian gracefully moved closer to Su Jie and linked her arm with his. Su Jie's expression stiffened slightly. Then he heard Han Rian continue, "Lu Yingying, what is she to my husband? This could be bad." A few beads of cold sweat dripped down Su Jie's forehead. It could be attributed to a woman's natural jealousy. After regaining more of her emotional capabilities, Han Rian's first instinct was to catch a cheater. "Actually, I've known her for quite some time." Facing Han Rian's beautiful eyes, Su Jie coughed dryly twice. "Then what am I?" Han Rian looked up at Su Jie, her smile gradually fading. "You are my wife. And her. Also, what about Ning Xinyue? Also, cough, cough, she's not." Realizing, Su Jie looked at Han Rian, who showed no expression, and explained, "I really have nothing going on with that little girl." Han Rian stayed silent, just staring at Su Jie's face repeatedly, without knowing if she believed Su Jie's words. Sizzle, sizzle. The 1,000-hand centipede crawled to Su Jie's shoulder, baring its fangs and claws at Han Rian, pointing at Su Jie with its pale corpse hand and then at itself, as if to say that in Su Jie's heart, it was the most important, and Han Rian should be behind it. "Little bug, you're quite a nuisance." Han Rian maintained a dignified expression, but her words were incredibly provocative. Who knows if she could understand insect language? The 1,000-hand centipede was so angry it hissed madly, stood up, ready to pounce on Han Rian, but fortunately, Su Jie's quick eyes and hands caught the 1,000-hand centipede's body in time, holding it in his arms, preventing it from fighting with Han Rian. "What are you fighting for attention, you bug?" Su Jie stroked the head of the 1,000-hand centipede, looking both helpless and amused. Han Rian and the 1,000-hand centipede naturally clashed, and now even more so, she crossed her arms and said indifferently, "Little bug, you are still in the 7 refinement state. When you reach 8 refinements, come talk to me again. For now, you're not enough for me to fight." The 1,000-hand centipede was quite agitated, turning back to look at Su Jie pitifully, opening its mouth and continually pointing inside, making it obvious that it wanted Su Jie to feed it more poisonous insects so it could quickly ascend to the top grade 8 refinement goo, to suppress Han Rian. Okay, I'll feed you more later, making sure your stomach is full every day." Su Jie stroked the 1,000-hand centipede, promising. Fortunately, thanks to the 1,000-hand centipede's interruption, Han Rian didn't continue to pursue the matter with Lu Yingying, allowing this bout of jealousy to temporarily calm down. "Su Jie, this time you will represent our Ghost Ridge Palace and set off first to find out the situation at the Heavenly Soul Sect." In front of the Ghost Ridge Palace's mountain gate, Zhang Junwei's face was solemn as he instructed Su Jie. "Take this with you. It might save your life in a critical moment." Taoist Qiu approached and handed Su Jie a colorful snake goo. This type of snake goo was cultivated by Taoist Qiu himself, a unique kind of poisonous insect capable of rapidly healing bodily injuries. "Sect Master, I won't disgrace the reputation of our Ghost Ridge Palace." Su Jie nodded heavily and put the item away. After advancing to the Taoist platform realm, Su Jie returned to Ghost Ridge Palace and was immediately notified that he would be among the first batch sent to assist the Heavenly Soul Sect, leading as an elder and commanding 3 other accompanying elders, along with 32 inner disciples, and over 1,500 outer disciples. Don't blindly charge ahead. If surrounded by the righteous sects, run as fast as you can. Those righteous sects love to gang up. Zhang Junwei patted Su Jie on the shoulder, speaking with heartfelt concern. If you encounter someone at the Taoist platform realm, don't hesitate, just run. Taoist Qiu added, emphasizing that Su Jie's identity was very sensitive. As a devilish immortal seed, the Taoist platform realm of the righteous sects would show no mercy if they encountered him, preferring to eliminate him early. Su Jie hadn't revealed his first-level cultivation in the Taoist platform realm. As long as he didn't deliberately show it, even someone like Zhang Junwei at the Taoist platform realm couldn't see through it. The people of the righteous sects aren't that scary. They all have one head and two arms. Of course, if I can't beat them, I'll definitely run. Su Jie replied with a smile. As long as you're mentally prepared, go on. Zhang Junwei didn't say much more. They were all strong practitioners in the secret realm, but he was just worried that Su Jie lacked experience in the Jianghu. Su Jie bid farewell to Taoist Qiu and returned to the little thousand-flying sky magic boat. Set sail. As soon as Su Jie finished speaking, Zhu Zhangqi had already called on many puppet hall disciples to activate the flying magic boat. The massive magic boat soared into the sky, straight into the sky dome, quickly disappearing from everyone's sight with over 1,000 disciples on board. The magic boat housed 100 disciples from the puppet sect. This journey had Su Jie mobilizing with the Thousand Hands ship, which required the puppet hall disciples to operate and maintain its functioning. Moreover, if it got damaged in battle, having this group of engineer soldiers from the puppet hall meant repairs could be made anytime, anywhere. Nanyang City, the main base of the Heavenly Soul Sect. In a city 100 miles outside of Nanyang City, a battle was taking place. Loud explosions sounded, several houses collapsed, and a figure stumbled out, trying to escape into the sky. In midair, a young maiden slowly descended. Her skin was as delicate as coagulated fat, exuding a faint luster like frost and snow under moonlight, cold and transcendent. Her long hair cascaded like a waterfall, gently swaying in the wind, releasing a faint fragrance. Her demeanor was elegant and mysterious, like a woman walking out of a painting. This was Mo Siyao, a disciple of Miao Yin Temple, who in the past had only a cultivation of 10 levels of Yunling realm. She had now achieved a breakthrough from the Yunling realm to the secret realm, possessing a first level of secret realm cultivation. Seeing the man about to escape, Mo Siyao extended her jade-like hand and softly chanted, "Heavenly music, blades of fire." The void trembled. Red blades gathered, pinning the fleeing man to the ground. Ugh! The man's face twisted in pain, his skin rotting, as a menacing fierce ghost with crimson flesh emerged, leaving only a layer of human skin on the ground. He was an elder from the Heavenly Soul Sect sent out to gather information, but unexpectedly encountered and was besieged by a group of talented disciples from the righteous sects. Filth from the Heavenly Soul Sect. Where do you think you're running to? Another shout rang from the sky, as a dignified man riding white crashing waves and holding a trident appeared. The roaring waves turned into a water dragon, binding the man in place, unable to move. Yu Wenjing from Guanchao Pavilion exuded a grand presence, his strength having also advanced to the secret realm. Amitba, your sins weigh heavily upon you. Why struggle so? It would be better to come to Lingfa Temple, where I shall recite scriptures for your sins to be cleansed daily, enabling a reborn life. And male and female appeared in the sky. The man was a young monk dressed plainly, barefoot, with one hand holding a bamboo staff and the other a scroll, embodying the appearance of an austere pilgrim. The woman was a young nun with a vermilion dot on her forehead, her brows long yet powerful like two golden blades guarding her clear and resolute eyes. She wore a simple white monk's robe that exuded an austere beauty. The two hailed from Jingzhou Lingfa Temple's He Wenfeng and Jingyu Temple's Jianglin, both possessing secret realm cultivation. Bah, you hypocritical baldies, thinking to tame me. Not even in death will I let you succeed. The Heavenly Soul Sect elder cursed, struggling to make a last stand. Humph, you demon cultivators truly don't know good from bad. Since you wish to die, I'll grant your wish. A cold light descended from the sky, transforming into hundreds of flying swords, slicing the Heavenly Soul Sect elder's body into pieces, along with the sixth-grade fierce ghost that accompanied him, both perishing, their souls extinguished. Amidst the flying swords merging, a young man with sword-like brows and a piercing gaze appeared, exuding a formidable aura. He was Zhang Xinming from the 10,000 Sword Alliance in Qing Province. The 10,000 Sword Alliance was a sect focused on sword cultivation, known for their formidable attacks. Zhang Xinming was the strongest disciple of his generation in the 10,000 Sword Alliance, also a righteous immortal seed, and had already grasped profound sword intent at a young age, possessing a primordial spirit at the God unification level. The elder of the Heavenly Soul Sect has died, leaving behind a group of ghosts running amok in the street, but there are also many disciples from the righteous sect nearby. They all took action, and in no time the danger was completely eliminated. A group of people landed on the ground, and Yu Wenjing picked up the storage bag left by the Heavenly Soul Sect's elder, chuckling lightly. Quite wealthy, planning to divide it later. Who knows how many people's hard-earned wealth he plundered. Jiang Lin shook her head, her words calm. Amit Ba Buddha. Yu Wenfeng clasped his hands together, his face showing compassion, chanting the Sutra of Salvation to redeem the dead souls. Demonic cults like these deserve no pity. What's the point of going through the trouble of redemption? Zhang Xinming snorted coldly, unable to tolerate it. Buddha said all beings are equal. He merely took the wrong path. We should treat every life equally. After reincarnation, who can say he won't be a good person in the next life? Yu Wenfeng's expression remained unchanged, only speaking after finishing the redemption chant. Everyone, there's a notification from the sect saying that most of the Heavenly Soul Sect's power is concentrated in Nanyang City, with some demon cultivators remaining outside. We are responsible for clearing them up. Yu Wenjing took out a map and said after spreading it out. On the map, besides the core Nanyang City, the surrounding towns and villages were also occupied by the Heavenly Soul Sect as sources of fear. The righteous joint team organized by Guanchao Pavilion is orderly approaching Nanyang City, with these surrounding cities handed over to the disciples for cleanup, serving to train them and increase their practical experience. Brother Zhang, I think we should start cleaning from this side. Yu Wenjing raised his head, only to see Zhang Xinming chatting and laughing with Emo Shiryao, not paying attention to what he was saying at all. Senior Brother Zhang, how did your swordsmanship become so strong? Can you teach me when you have time? Emo Shiryao smiled gently, speaking to Zhang Xinming. Are you interested in the sword Dao? Zhang Xinming raised an eyebrow and asked. Yes, the sword Dao is supreme in battle, especially useful against demon cultivators. Learning more can't hurt. Emo Shiryao spoke with a hint of coquettishness. Senior Brother Zhang, could you teach me? I genuinely want to learn. Not asking for your sect's secret sword formulas. Just some basic sword Dao will do. Seeing this, Yu Wenjing's mouth twitched slightly. This most beautiful female cultivator of the younger generation in Qingzhou seemed to be seeking a Taoist couple again. Yu Wenjing had an inexplicable bad premonition because every time Emo Shiryao found someone, they would soon meet an untimely death. First, it was Du Xiaochang, then Qi Shijian, including Wei Ji, the immortal seed, all fell victim, all dying at the same person's hands. Sometimes Yu Wenjing couldn't help but wonder if Emo Shiryao had some husband-dooming aura, causing whoever she attached to die. Fortunately, Emo Shiryao didn't know Yu Wenjing's thoughts at this time, or she would surely have turned hostile towards him. I'll teach you when I have time. Just afraid you won't be able to learn it. Zhang Xinming replied, very pleased with Emo Shiryao's admiration. With Senior Brother Zhang's immortal seed guidance, if I can't learn it, then no one in this world can teach me sword Dao. Emo Shiryao chuckled brightly, her eyes sparkling as she gazed at Zhang Xinming. The sword cultivator's moves were so dashing, combined with Zhang Xinming's identity as an immortal seed. Emo Shiryao was quite moved. I heard Qingzhou's demon path also has an immortal seed named Su Jie. Is he really that powerful? Talking about the immortal seed, Jiang Lin suddenly interjected. Upon hearing the name, both Yu Wenjing and Emo Shiryao's expressions soured, because within Qingzhou's righteous sect's younger generation, Su Jie was a taboo name. Since Wei Ji's death at Su Jie's hands, Su Jie had become synonymous with the demoralization of countless Qingzhou genius cultivators. Yes, that devil is very strong. Wei Ji died at his hands. Yu Wenjing stated honestly. He knew Wei Ji's strength. Yet even so, Wei Ji was slain by Su Jie, emphasizing Su Jie's terrifying power. Yu Wenjing, though one of the top talents in Guanchao Pavilion, was far inferior to the immortal seed Wei Ji, let alone Su Jie. I want to test his strength. My path in the Sword Dao requires honing against such strong adversaries. Zhang Xinming's eyes sharpened. Walking the path of the sword cultivator required a relentless spirit. Honing one's edge by defeating strong peers would propel his sword intent forward sharply. Hey! It's better if you don't confront Su Jie. Yu Wenjing subtly advised that provoking Su Jie was, to him, an obvious death wish behavior. Yes, senior brother Zhang. Let the elders from our sects deal with that devil. Mo Shiyao chimed in to support. Although she loathed Su Jie, she knew full well that Su Jie's battle prowess was on another level now, even possibly beyond the match of her master, the sect leader of Miao Yin Temple, highlighting Su Jie's fearsome power. You all fear demon cultivators too much. Your cultivation mindset still needs honing. We cultivators need only adhere to one principle. My heart is my sword. Where my sword aims, there are no adversaries. If I encounter this Su Jie, I will definitely test his strength. Hearing their words, Zhang Xinming's competitive spirit was further fueled. I am also curious if this Su Jie lives up to his name. Jiang Lin spoke calmly. Her prowess was acknowledged across Jingzhou, deemed as one of the top disciples, second only to He Wenfeng beside her. Amitabha Buddha, should there be a chance to meet Su Jie, I will do my utmost to guide him back to the righteous path. He Wenfeng's face was compassionate, displaying the demeanor and tone of an old monk, despite his youth. Yu Wenjing was speechless. He didn't continue to persuade them, figuring since the battle was against the Heavenly Soul Sect and not Ghost Ridge Palace, they wouldn't meet Su Jie, dismissing their bravado as bluffing. In the following days, Yu Wenjing's group of dozens of talented disciples kept clearing the Heavenly Soul Sect's periphery, exterminating the remaining demon cultivators. Among these talented disciples, there were 5 at the secret realm level, making it easy to handle the periphery of the Heavenly Soul Sect. Whether it was fierce ghosts or zombies, or wielding the 10,000 soul banner, they couldn't escape their suppression. Their bold actions even provoked retaliation from the Heavenly Soul Sect. At one point, multiple elders from the Heavenly Soul Sect were dispatched to encircle them. Yet Yu Wenjing's team had guardians secretly protecting these talented disciples, all with senior secret realm cultivation. The Heavenly Soul Sect's retaliation not only failed but they suffered heavy losses, eventually retreating back to Nanyang City, relying on the Great Formation to protect their mountain gate. On this day, while traveling to the next outer city of the Heavenly Soul Sect, Yu Wenjing's group suddenly saw a massive flying magical boat appear in the Skydome cloud layer en route. Is it the sect's magic boat, with the Supreme Elder here to support the front line? But there hasn't been any news. Yu Wenjing's face lit up with joy, because Guanchao Pavilion in Qingzhou was the only one with a flying magical boat, and judging from the appearance, it seemed to match the Guanchao Pavilion's design. Thinking of this, Yu Wenjing flew up proactively, heading towards the magic boat. Everyone, this is my sect elder's magic boat. I'll go greet them first. If the elders permit, I'll invite you all on board to appreciate Guanchao Pavilion's flying magical boat in all its glory. Yu Wenjing's face showed pride as he spoke from above, already flying to the front of the magic boat, looking directly at it. There, Yu Wenjing saw a young man leisurely sipping tea with his legs crossed on the spacious deck, appearing very relaxed. Seeing the young man's true face, Yu Wenjing's smile instantly faded. His heart nearly stopped in fright, left dumbfounded. Su,
Old demon.
Yu Wenjing was completely dumbfounded. He never expected that the magic boat he thought belonged to a senior from his sect would actually have Su Jie, the demon path's immortal seed, aboard. Who's insulting me? Su Jie put down his teacup, lifted an eyebrow coldly, and locked his gaze on Yu Wenjing. Yu Wenjing finally came to his senses. Upon seeing Su Jie's figure and the dense demon aura from the demon cultivators on the boat, he instantly realized this was a demon path magic boat. He wasn't sure by what means they managed to capture it, but he knew if he didn't run now, he wouldn't have another chance to escape. Whoosh! Yu Wenjing quickly turned and fled, his speed several times faster than when he came, as if a single streak of light pierced the sky. Brother Yuan, can we go up to the magic boat? Seeing Yu Wenjing returning, Mo Shiryao asked. Go up there? Hell no. Going up there is asking for death. This isn't my sect's magic boat. It's full of demon cultivators from Ghost Ridge Palace, and Su Jie is on it too. Run, run. Yu Wenjing's voice was anxious as he hurriedly shouted, Don't delay. Run away with me quickly. What? How could that devil be here? Mo Shiryao's face turned pale, her body shivering from the shock of the news. Oh, is Su Jie on board? Haha. Perfect. I'll test my sword on him. In contrast, Zhang Xinming wasn't startled but delighted by the news. His eyes glimmered with a sharp light beneath his sword brows, like countless sword blades unsheathing. Brother Zhang, you're no match for him. Now is not the time for a battle of ego. Yu Wenjing's scalp tingled at Zhang Xinming's words. How could this sword cultivator be so rash? Was he not aware of who the opponent was? Instead of thinking about fleeing, he was buzzing with excitement to confront Su Jie. If you have the ability, then confront him head-on. Senior Brother Zhang, let's temporarily retreat. We can return once our sect's seniors arrive to deal with this devil. Mo Shiryao also advised, though she believed Zhang Xinming had great strength. The shadow Su Jie cast on her mind was too deep. Humph, as cultivators, how can we retreat when facing strong enemies? Sword cultivators grow stronger when faced with greater power. What we cultivate is the indomitable sword intent. You don't need to persuade me anymore. Let me see what this demon path's immortal seed is capable of. If I can battle and defeat him, my sword intent will surely advance by 3 points. Zhang Xinming's face was resolute, his eyes cold and proud, entirely unmoved, insisting on sparring with Su Jie. The more Yu Wenjing and Mo Shiryao tried to dissuade him, the more they incited Zhang Xinming's innate pride. He never believed he would lose to any peer, especially a demon cultivator. I'm quite interested in this person too. He's made such a big name for himself. I want to see what he's really made of. Jiang Lin clutched a string of prayer beads in her hand, with a vermilion dot on her forehead radiating 1,000 rays of light. Her pure white robe fluttered loudly, and her entire being exuded an overwhelming fighting spirit. Amitabha Buddha, let me try to persuade this lost soul of the demon path to return to the righteous way and follow the Buddhist path. He Wenfeng clasped his hands together with a compassionate expression, a halo forming behind his head that made people feel an urge to worship. You all. Yu Wenjing's mouth twitched as he looked at this stubborn group. They didn't understand the terror of Su Jie, but Yu Wenjing certainly did. Seeing these people insist on seeking their own doom, Yu Wenjing's face darkened as he decisively chose to first escape. I'll go get reinforcements for you. I'll be back soon. The moment Yu Wenjing finished his sentence, he had already fled miles away. That coward! Zhang Xinming scorned, looking at Mo Shiryao, who seemed ready to move, and asked, Miss Mo, are you leaving too? Mo Shiryao bit her lip. For the sake of her relationship, she finally bit her lip and said, I'll stay and help everyone deal with this devil. As they were speaking, they suddenly saw Yu Wenjing, who had initially run far away, returning in a panic like he was on fire. Yo, has Brother Yuan finally come around and decided to join us in fighting this demon path immortal seed? Jiang Lin saw this and smirked with a trace of ridicule. Just take a look for yourselves at what's behind us. You all are responsible for getting me trapped here. If it weren't for you delaying me, how could I have ended up in this mess? Yu Wenjing's voice was mournful as they all followed his finger. In the distance, they saw a massive centipede over 300 meters long with nearly 1,000 pale corpse hands emerging from behind a mountain, its fierce and oppressive aura inundating the surroundings for tens of miles, causing countless small animals to tremble in fear and scatter in a frenzy. Earlier, Yu Wenjing had been blocked by this top-grade 7 refinement poisonous insect, the thousand-hand centipede. Upon seeing this poisonous insect, Zhang Xinming and the others became serious. A top-grade 7 refinement goo insect could easily devour an unsuspecting secret realm 5th level cultivator whole. That insect! Mo Shiryao immediately recognized the thousand-hand centipede as Su Jie's signature life-bound poisonous insect, now famous across Qingzhou. It had even been made into illustrations and widely disseminated in the Qingzhou righteous sects, warning disciples to just run at the sight of such a giant centipede without thinking twice. "Everyone, are you perhaps looking for me?" Suddenly, a voice came over. Everyone looked in the direction of the voice and saw a handsome young man with deep eyes hovering in the air, smiling at them. "So it's you, Su Jie. All right, take this sword from me." Zhang Xinming's eyes lit up, and as soon as he finished speaking, a blue rainbow light flashed from his waist, like a single line of white between the sea and sky. "This is a flying sword, a low-grade magical treasure named the Songhai Sword, bestowed by the elders of the sect. Such a grade of magical treasure is unaffordable for most of the secret realm, indicating how valued Zhang Xinming is within the sect, worthy of his immortal seat status." Facing the incoming Songhai sword, Su Jie calmly extended 2 fingers, pinching it lightly. Zhang Xinming's face changed abruptly because the Songhai sword he controlled was gently pinched by Su Jie's 2 fingers, unable to advance even an inch. "It's a good sword, just the owner's power is lacking a bit. Why not let me keep it for you?" Su Jie chuckled, one hand behind his back, while the other held the Songhai sword. Countless arms emerged from Su Jie's shoulder, wrapping the low-grade magical treasure into a bundle that Zhang Xinming could never reclaim. How is this possible? Zhang Xinming's face turned black. He never thought his flying sword would be taken like this one day. The flying sword is the sword cultivator's life. This scene reddened his eyes out of shock and irritation. Next moment, Zhang Xinming blended with his sword. His primordial spirit transformed into the sword edge, rushing towards Su Jie with abandon. At the same time, Jiang Lin and He Wenfeng took action. Su Jie's expression remained unchanged, reversing his hand with a press. 5 elements demon-suppressing handprint. Spiritual energy formed into a gigantic hand, striking Zhang Xinming from the sky into dust. Su Jie, almost invincible at his level, had now advanced to the Taoist platform realm. Defeating Zhang Xinming, a cultivator at the secret realm 3rd level, was as easy as a father beating his son, requiring no tricks, suppressing him effortlessly. "Ha! Devil, halt your madness." Jiang Lin threw out prayer beads, the beads spinning continuously as Jiang Lin punched through them. His stature instantly enlarged 10,000 times. His fist, like a small mountain, smashed heavily towards Su Jie, seemingly wanting to crush him into mince. Amitabha Buddha, the Buddha says, "The sea of bitterness has no bounds. Turn back to find the shore. Mr. Su, cease your action." He Wenfeng clasped his hands together. Behind him floated a colossal phantom apparition of Buddha, which suddenly opened its eyes, firing 2 golden beams that shot like divine columns piercing through the heavens, shaking the hearts of men. Su Jie raised a finger, casually flicking it. Boom! What erupted from Su Jie's finger was purple cloud divine thunder, blasting Jiang Lin's mountain-like fist and tearing it to pieces. Simultaneously, Su Jie's eyes emitted purple light rays, directly obliterating the divine radiance of the Buddha, penetrating all the way through to explode the phantom apparition's head. But He Wenfeng spewed a mouthful of fresh blood. His aura withered. Jiang Lin retracted his shrunk right fist, covered with wounds, almost without a piece of intact skin, with broken knuckles exposing chilling white bones. With casual grace, Su Jie repelled the combined attack of Zhang Xinming, Jiang Lin, and He Wenfeng. From beginning to end, Su did not move even a step, with his right hand always behind his back, using only his left hand to face the enemies. This indicated that Su Jie's strength completely overwhelmed these outstanding talents of the righteous sect. How can this devil be so strong? Jiang Lin swallowed an elixir, his right fist's injuries recovering, Yet the sense of defeat and panic could not be remedied by medicine. This devil is quite terrifying. We should find a chance to leave. He Wenfeng no longer insisted on persuading Su Jie to affiliate with the Buddhist sect because they were powerless against him. Whoever affiliates with whom is unclear now. The one most unable to accept this outcome was Zhang Xinming, this righteous sect's immortal seed. With disheveled hair, he crawled out of the massive handprint pit on the ground, unable to sense his Songhai sword. Glancing up, he saw that thousand-handed centipede unknowingly approached and swallowed his Songhai sword whole.
No.
Instantly furious to the breaking point, Zhang Xinming gathered his spiritual energy into a 100-meter-high giant sword, the sword chi soaring into the sky, determined to fight thousand-handed centipede to the death. His life's dual-cultivated sword was lost, prompting Zhang Xinming to be truly desperate. Sizzle, sizzle. Thousand-handed centipede eyed the charging Zhang Xinming, flicking its tail and sending him crash back to the ground with a smack. Zhang Xinming's entire power, 7 levels, was bound to his flying sword. Without the sword, his battle strength dropped dramatically, utterly unable to withstand thousand-handed centipede's brute strength. Thousand-handed centipede happily chirped 2 sizzling notes, watching Zhang Xinming struggle to rise again. Flauntingly spit out the Songhai sword, tumbling and playing with it in its mouth, cleverly using it to pick its teeth, its fangs gleaming coldly. Zhang Xinming was furious, his face turning steel blue, his features twisted. His beloved flying sword was frivolously toyed with by a bug, a fact more enraging than even his wife being toyed with. My sword! Zhang Xinming's Taoist heart shattered. His eyes reddened, desperately trying to reclaim that Songhai sword. Yet the earlier tail flick from thousand-handed centipede had broken many of his bones, making flying difficult, let alone snatching Songhai sword from its mouth. Wen Jing, witnessing this same scene, twitched his face, wanting to grab Zhang Xinming's collar and harshly question him. With this meager strength, you dared to test your sword on Su Jie? You're not even worthy for Su Jie's single hand. Mo Shiyao's face was pale. She hadn't expected Zhang Xinming to be so easily subdued, suppressed by Su Jie's singular hand. Is it that Su Jie was too strong, or Zhang Xinming too weak? Judgedly, the previously comparable righteous sect's immortal seed Wei Ji could at least battle Su Jie for 300 rounds. Mo Shiyao was unaware that during the confrontation with Wei Ji, Su Jie had secret realm 3rd level cultivation, whereas now Su Jie had Taoist platform realm 1st level cultivation. His strength had undergone a radical transformation. It's not Zhang Xinming's weakness, but Su Jie's overbearing strength. Even if Wei Ji jumped out of his grave now, Su Jie would be able to suppress him with a single hand. Evil demon, stop your actions. At the moment Mo Shiyao felt despair, witnessing the display of Su Jie's combat prowess. Entering the fray with you Wen Jing would be foolhardy. Yet at this moment several streaks of light emerged in the distance. These were protectors of the righteous sect's talented disciples, all with senior secret realm 4th and 5th level cultivation. They guarded in the distance, providing an environment for trial. Hearing the intense battle sounds, they sped over to support. Relief. Mo Shiyao, Jiang Lin, He Wenfeng, and others showed joy. Having these senior secret realm protectors finally allowed them to escape the devil's threat. But Mo Shiyao's joy lasted only seconds before hearing ghastly screams from the approaching protectors, as if they suffered extreme torture. A black moon hung unknowing over the sky dome, projecting ominous, cold light. The protectors enveloped by it fell like birds with broken wings from the sky. Above the black moon sat an exquisite beauty in a blood-colored wedding dress, the breeze lifting her skirt edge and cascading black hair, revealing frost-like indifferent eyes. None knew what those protectors experienced. Nevertheless, falling to the ground, each frantically turned and fled, yet ultimately met sudden deaths, becoming icy corpses like they died days ago. Each deceased protector's face bore indelible terror, evidencing they saw an unforgettable horrifying scene before dying. Ghost Bride. Yu Wenjing's lips trembled, acknowledging Su Jie's other signature. The Ghost Bride similarly known to Qingzhou righteous sect. But contrary to Yu Wenjing's impression, the Ghost Bride shouldn't be this terrifying. Several protectors were nearly powerless. Possessing such strength, the curse surpasses even the resistance of senior secret realm cultivators, thoroughly overwhelming. Everyone, meeting is fate. Let's visit my Shao Qian magic boat. We Ghost Ridge Palace's demon cultivators are hospitable and friendly. Su Jie gestured at the flying magical boat, atop which 1,000 Ghost Ridge Palace demon cultivators stood within pavilions and temples, their bloodthirsty, dangerous gazes studying them ominously, pressuring Yu Wenjing and others only sweated coldly. If entering such a demon cave, their fate would be truly caught between life and death. Scatter and run. Yu Wenjing's face turned vicious, and he turned around without looking back to run, hoping the others would attract attention. So Su Jie would chase them, giving him a slim chance to escape. Mo Shiryao followed closely behind, then Jiang Lin and He Wenfeng. The four of them fled in different directions, secretly hoping Su Jie would chase someone else. When disaster strikes, everyone flies away on their own. Even the righteous sect doesn't care about loyalty. Su Jie lightly chuckled, shaking his head, watching Zhang Xinming, whose Dao heart had collapsed, standing there. Abandoned and alone, Zhang Xinming seemed oblivious to the severity of the situation, solely focused on retrieving his Songhai sword. However, the thousand-handed centipede took one look at Zhang Xinming, who was bouncing around in front of him, and crushed him down like Mount Tai, making Zhang Xinming stay put, as his spine was fractured and he couldn't struggle at all. Su Jie looked towards the direction where Mo Shiryao and the others disappeared, with a faint smile at the corner of his mouth. Sitting atop the black moon, Han Ruyan wiped the brass dressing mirror. Within the mirror, there were the scenes of Yu Wenjing and the four others fleeing. They were all cursed by the Mirror Girl's tracking curse, being toyed with unknowingly. In the next moment, Su Jie raised his foot and vanished from where he stood, appearing behind He Wenfeng. "Hey, bald donkey, in such a hurry, where are you going?" As a demon, you Buddhist disciples don't think about purification, instead you turn around and run. Don't you feel you've lost face? Hearing this voice, He Wenfeng's face turned ugly, realizing he was targeted by Su Jie. Amitabha Buddha, Mr. Su, with your cultivation talent, falling into the demon path is truly regrettable. If you chose the right path, you'd already be the most outstanding youth of the Dali dynasty, a prodigy in cultivation. He Wenfeng clasped his hands together, his expression compassionate. "What do you want to say?" Su Jie had a smile on his lips, leisurely listening as the other spoke. "With your talent, Mr. Su, if you correct your ways now, I and Lingfa Temple are willing to vouch for you. Leaving darkness for the light, stepping on the path to immortality, future days of becoming immortal are within reach." He Wenfeng tried to paint a grand picture for Su Jie. Unaware of Su Jie's firm temperament, on Blue Star, he was one who painted grand pictures for billions. He Wenfeng's tricks were a far reach to persuade Su Jie. "My hands are stained with the blood of the righteous sect, yet they would accept me?" Su Jie raised an eyebrow, his smile mischievous. "Of course, Buddha says to lay down the butcher knife and become a Buddha instantly. As long as Mr. Su sincerely seeks goodness, I am willing to help Mr. Su resolve all hidden dangers, regardless of the challenges." A hint of joy flashed in He Wenfeng's eyes, mistakenly believing his persuasion had succeeded. "Since you've said all that, can't you show some sincerity? Come back to the magic boat with me. Then I'll explain to the sect master, resign from the demon cultivator's identity, and pursue my righteous path to immortality." Su Jie's smile grew kinder, making it hard to decipher. "This?" He Wenfeng's expression froze, following Su Jie onto that magic boat. Wasn't that akin to stepping into a thief's den? He was unwilling. "Why, didn't you just say no matter what challenges and dangers you'd persist? Even if life might be at risk, the Buddhist tenet of feeding an eagle with one's flesh wouldn't make you too scared to proceed, right?" Su Jie advanced step by step toward He Wenfeng, his smile growing more taunting. He Wenfeng realized Su Jie was ridiculing him. Unable to hold back a furious shout, "Demon, stop pretending here. I won't return with you." After speaking, He Wenfeng burst forth with golden light, his form expanding, transforming into a ferocious three-headed, six-armed stance. charging fiercely towards Su Jie, seeking life within death. But sadly, against overwhelming power, all efforts were futile. Explode! Su Jie lightly lifted a finger, uttering the word, and dozens of purple light rays bloomed from his fingertips. He Wenfeng's charging figure sprayed blood from many points, resembling a human fountain, his screams shaking the heavens. Su Jie had painstakingly cultivated to the Taoist platform realm not to engage in life-and-death battles with secret realm opponents. Such adversaries, once Su Jie got serious, were essentially defeated instantly. Looking at He Wenfeng, curled up like a boiled shrimp, limp on the ground, Su Jie shook his head. Why bother? The ending is the same. Couldn't you have just come with me, instead of making yourself look so pitiful? You demon. So cruel. He Wenfeng's facial features twisted in agony, his body like a sieve, blood pouring out. Yet Su Jie had avoided vital points. Thus such was the cultivator's physical resilience, unable to claim his life but forcing him to endure pain akin to having arrows piercing through. Take him back to the magic boat. Guard him well. Su Jie turned away, continuing towards the next target. Several Ghost Ridge Palace disciples emerged, first casting reverent looks at Su Jie's departing figure, marveling at his strength, then dragging He Wenfeng's legs, treated as battle spoils, back to the flying magic boat like a dead dog. Jiang Lin's long legs sprinted fast. She didn't rise to the sky like others, but chose to flee on the ground, using dense forest vegetation for cover, trying to hide herself and make her escape less conspicuous. However, just when Jiang Lin thought she had hopes of successful escape, a cold voice echoed from above. Suppress! As the voice fell, Jiang Lin's limbs twisted and broke, pain bleaching her complexion. Facing the slowly descending ghost bride, she showed only desperate eyes. This was an existence she couldn't possibly resist. Han Ruyan's cold, lifeless eyes stared at her. She raised her hand, and just when Jiang Lin thought she was about to meet her end, she found herself rapidly lifted into the air, carried by Han Ruyan towards the flying magical boat. I admit defeat. Yu Wenjing looked at the giant thousand-handed centipede behind him, as big as a mountain, rapidly closing in with a rumbling sound. The ground shook, and countless trees were broken and crushed as it forcibly carved a path through the forest. Facing the ever-nearing thousand-handed centipede, Yu Wenjing finally gave up hope. He stood his ground and chose to surrender, because he feared that if he ran any further, he would become a meal for the thousand-handed centipede. Mo Shiryao quietly hid beneath a deep spring, her graceful figure concealed by the water. Her spiritual power was completely retracted, emitting no fluctuations, hoping to evade capture. Are you coming out on your own? Or do I have to force you out? Suddenly, a voice penetrated the water, and Mo Shiryao's pretty face instantly turned ashen. She recognized it as Su Jie's voice transmitted through divine sense. Within the spring, strands of eerie, pale corpse hands snaked in like fish, rapidly approaching Mo Shiryao. With no other choice, Mo Shiryao emerged from the deep spring, jumping back onto the shore. Nice figure. No wonder you can captivate all the male disciples of Qing Zhou. Su Jie stood by the spring, eyeing Mo Shiryao up and down. Due to her clothes being soaked by the spring water, Mo Shiryao's figure was exposed completely. Mo Shiryao's face flushed with shame and anger. She quickly used spiritual power to evaporate the water from her clothes. However, it was clear she was overthinking it, because Su Jie had no intention of pitying her. Without any hesitation, countless pale corpse hands surged out from Su Jie's sleeves like a tide, engulfing Mo Shiryao completely. Su Jie kicked her, sending Mo Shiryao flying towards the flying magical boat. Once everything had settled down, on the spacious deck of the little thousand-flying sky magic boat, Zhang Xinming and the others regrouped. However, they now shared a common status, captives. All were fixed in a kneeling position. Su Jie sat on a grand chair, calmly observing them, making everyone feel uneasy. What exactly do you want? Mo Shiryao spoke. She initially thought that having fallen into Su Jie's hands, she would be killed. But instead, he merely had her tied to the deck, gazing at her with malicious eyes. She couldn't understand what Su Jie's intentions were. Miss Mo, every time we meet, something interesting happens. I seem to always end up killing one of your lovers. By the way, does this Times group contain another of your sweethearts? Su Jie smirked playfully, recalling that several of Mo Shuryao's lovers had died at his hands. Upon hearing this, Mo Shuryao's face turned red and then pale, feeling as though her defenses were breaking. Next to her, Yu Wenjing's mouth twitched. Su Jie's words echoed his own thoughts. All right, enough with the useless talk. Su Jie clapped his hands, and Chun Yun stepped out from behind him, placing a pile of letters and a brush in front of Mo Shuryao and the others. As Zhang Ximing and the others looked puzzled, Su Jie spoke. I am a person who always seeks harmony. I don't wish to create unnecessary bloodshed. So you all had better write letters, explain your situation, plead for leniency, and have your sex pay for your ransom. Each of you is worth 10 million spirit stones. And as for Brother Zhang, being a righteous immortal seed, it's not unreasonable for your price to be tripled. So let's set it at 20 million spirit stones, and the price can be negotiated. Su Jie finished speaking with a cheerful smile, and the whole group, Zhang Ximing, Jiang Lin, He Wenfeng, Mo Shuyao, and Yu Wenjing, were utterly dumbfounded. Ransom? For people of their standing, getting captured by a demon cultivator and then being used to demand ransom from their sex was a blow to their pride, igniting their fury. You wicked creature, your heart is indeed vicious. I will never write that letter. Mo Shuyao bit her silver teeth. She knew that once the letter was written, even if she were rescued, she would become the laughingstock of the cultivators of Qingzhou. A genius who had to humble herself and pay ransom to a demon cultivator would be ruthlessly mocked wherever she went. Moreover, given the exaggerated number of 10 million spirit stones, it was clear Su Jie had no intention of releasing anyone. As cultivators, we can be killed but not humiliated. If you have the guts, kill me, but you won't make me submit. Zhang Ximing struggled as he roared at Su Jie. He was a righteous immortal seed, cherishing his image. If it became known he had written a ransom plea, his entire reputation would be ruined, something he couldn't accept. For someone as proud as Zhang Ximing, writing that letter was more painful than death. You devil, you will never succeed. Jiang Lin also held her head high, glaring at Su Jie with red eyes. Amitabha Buddha, Mr. Su, it's best to show mercy where you can. You're being too attached. He Wenfeng's face was conflicted. He thought the ransom amount was too high. If it were 1 million, their sect might find a way, but 10 million was an impossibility for Lingfa Temple. He Wenfeng knew very well that though the monks of Lingfa Temple claimed to treat wealth as dirt, in reality, those monks loved money the most and were stingy to the extreme. Our Guanchao Pavilion absolutely will not accept your extortion. You should give up on that idea. Yu Wenjing was willing to write, but he couldn't agree so easily, especially with his companions watching. You're making this difficult for me. Su Jie smacked his lips. He had confiscated the storage bags of these genius disciples, but he still wanted to make use of them. At present, these genius disciples posed no threat to Su Jie. Killing them wouldn't change a thing. On the contrary, using them to earn profits was Su Jie's true intention. Su Jie went through great trouble to reach the Heavenly Soul sect, not to help them out of some sense of righteousness or to do good deeds, bringing his own provisions to work for them. Helping the Heavenly Soul sect was secondary. Making money was Su Jie's primary goal. Human trafficking is also a way to make money, fitting the style of a demon cultivator. Seeing these so-called geniuses with stubborn pride, Su Jie snapped his fingers, his eyes lingering on Mo Shuyao and Jiang Lin, two beautiful female cultivators, making them shiver all over. What crooked idea are you plotting? I said I won't write, and I mean it. Mo Shuyao said proudly, like a majestic swan, asserting she would never submit. If you won't write, I'll have to hand you over to the Heavenly Soul sect. They would offer a high price as well. It's just that your end, well, I've heard that Nanyang City, where the Heavenly Soul sect is located, has a famous brothel called Wanhua Building. If they get you, they'll surely sell you to Wanhua Building first. The allure of a righteous sex genius female cultivator would be quite welcome among the demon cultivator disciples. They'd gladly pay thousands of spirit stones for a night, eager to spend an intimate evening with a righteous secret realm genius female cultivator to recoup their investment. Su Jie said, eyes squinting, not caring the least about it. Mo Shiryao's face turned pale, while Jiang Lin seemed to want to tear Su Jie into pieces. All right. Seeing that Su Jie was about to summon someone to hand them over to the Heavenly Soul sect, Mo Shiryao finally gave in, followed closely by Jiang Lin. Compared to being sold to a brothel, requesting ransom from their sects didn't seem as disgraceful. I heard there's also a preference for the Dragon Yang School inside the Wanhua building, and those guys from the Heavenly Soul sect who raise ghosts all year around are quite twisted. They wouldn't refuse you. Su Jie then turned his gaze to Zhang Xinming, making the righteous immortal seed tremble. The thought of those ghost-raising demon cultivators, who were neither fully human nor ghost, getting close to him, made Zhang Xinming's heart waver. Hastily, he picked up the brush and began writing, losing the courage to maintain his pride. In Qingzhou, a piece of news swept through like a hurricane, spreading across various borders of Qingzhou in a short time, and then expanding to the nearby Jingzhou and Qing province. 5 prodigies from major righteous sects were all captured and used as hostages, demanding their respective sects to pay a hefty ransom of 10 million low-grade spirit stones each, and the righteous sect's immortal seed was priced at 30 million low-grade spirit stones. Since the news was extremely shocking and dramatic, it instantly attracted the attention of countless cultivators, whether they were from the righteous sect or the demon path. Currently, the righteous sect is the recognized orthodox power in the world, holding an advantage over the demon path, often hearing tales from various places about righteous heroes vanquishing demons and protecting the people. On the contrary, instances of righteous sect prodigies suffering setbacks or worse, being captured and ransomed, are very rare, which enraged the sects behind these prodigies immensely. Soon, the identity of the demon cultivator who captured these righteous prodigies came to light.
Su Ye.
When this name was confirmed, the various righteous sects in Qingzhou suddenly felt a little relieved. This name had long been renowned in Qingzhou. During the Ghost Ridge Palace's sect war, Su Jie single-handedly killed Wei Ji, fought against the 5 secret hidden realms alone, and emerged victorious, making him the absolute leader of the younger generation in Qingzhou. Forget the younger generation, even among the older generation, there aren't many in Qingzhou who can rival him. If it was Su Jie, the devilish immortal seed of the Ghost Ridge Palace, who made a move, then everything could be explained, including why those 5 righteous sect prodigies ended up captured. At the same time, Su Jie's appearance also cast a shadow over the Heavenly Soul sect's war for the various righteous sects in Qingzhou. Since Su Jie, the devilish immortal seed of the Ghost Ridge Palace, appeared here, it indicated that the Heavenly Soul sect and Ghost Ridge Palace had colluded, and they were facing not just one demon sect, but the alliance of 2 demon sects. On the little 1,000-flying sky magic boat, Su Jie sat in a fragrant garden, isolated from the clouds at 10,000 meters high by the formation of the magic boat, allowing Su Jie to enjoy tea while admiring the vast land below the magic boat. Rolling hills and endless plains, resembling rivers like a blue giant dragon. Put some effort into it? Did you not eat? Su Jie put down the teacup and shouted. Behind him, 2 women on either side looked humiliated and angry. They were Mo Shiryao, the leading young female cultivator of Qingzhou, and Jiang Lin, a nun from Jingyu Temple. Such women, who ordinary cultivators could only view from afar and not disrespect, were here, for Su Jie, doing tasks like maids. Got it. Mo Shiryao bit her red lips tightly, her spiritual power sealed. She could not make a move to resist. Besides, even at her full strength, she was no match for Su Jie. You keep your word. Jiang Lin, massaging his shoulders, had a face full of unwillingness and grievance. Of course, she didn't want to do maid tasks, especially serving a devil. But when Su Jie mentioned handing them over to the Heavenly Soul sect, she immediately complied. Because she knew Su Jie only wanted money. But if it were Heavenly Soul sect, she dreaded to think how they would torment her. Well, that depends on when your sect is going to send the money over. Su Jie chuckled, turned his head, and shouted to the other side. And you three, stop slacking. You know the consequences of not completing the work. The three in the garden, Yu Wenjing, Zhang Xinming, and He Wenfeng, heard this and couldn't help but flinch, their eyes full of fear, instinctively speeding up their work, tending the garden's rare and exotic plants as gardeners. They, too, tried to resist this work that trampled on their dignity. But when Su Jie brought over a few female demon cultivators and threatened to hand them over, Zhang Xinming and the others stopped resisting immediately. Because the female demon cultivators Su Jie found from Ghost Ridge Palace had gone somewhat astray in cultivation, resulting in physical abnormalities, for instance growing insect limbs or having insect fuzz on their faces. It would be unbelievable to others, including Zhang Xinming, the righteous sex immortal seed, that one day he would become a gardener for someone. If people heard, their jaws would drop. Stop! Suddenly, Su Jie, who had been leisurely drinking tea, raised his hand and let Emo Shiryao and Jiang Lin release their little hands. Emo Shiryao and Jiang Lin were curious about how Su Jie, this lustful guy, suddenly changed, and then they saw a red figure appear in the garden. You all go out first. Su Jie waved his hand, shooing Emo Shiryao and Zhang Xinming out. Husband sure knows how to enjoy himself. Han Ruyan approached Su Jie, her blood-colored wedding dress heaving, obviously upset. Ahem. These people need to be tamed for their own temperament, lest they always think about this and that. I am just doing my job. Su Jie cleared his throat and changed the subject. Darling, any leads on the investigation I asked for? Han Ruyan raised her hand, revealing a black glazed bead in her palm. As Han Ruyan infused Yin Qi, the glazed bead projected a water screen, displaying images on it. This was something Han Ruyan captured using spiritual materials along with her own abilities, akin to the function of a video recorder. The water screen depicted the scene of a sect's residence. This sect occupied a large spiritual mountain-blessed land, with clusters of pavilions and halls, the brilliance of formations spreading like afterglow across the sky, changing in dreamlike hues.